the whole apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Who ate the whole apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Who ate the whole apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Who ate the whole apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
All right. We are live. Welcome back to Reasoned Answers, everyone. Your home for the... Oh, it was working before, and now it is not working. All right, whatever. The soundboard doesn't want to work. Had some technological issues today, and I thought I had everything worked out, and then we were about to start and things weren't working, so I rebooted the computer, and now the soundboard isn't working. So we don't have the soundboard today, but we do have a Mary, and we do have a very important topic. We're going to be talking about the childhood of Muhammad and how he was abused as a child, which of course is no joke. It is not something to be made fun of, but unfortunately, this when a child is abused, what often happens is they grow up to be an adult who has learned that abusive behavior and then perpetuates it, which is a serious problem when it comes to Muhammad, because he is supposed to be the example for all Muslims to follow, the example for all human beings to follow, the perfect example of human conduct. And thus, when he learns these abusive behaviors and perpetuates them, they become codified in Islamic law as something good and proper to do. Welcome, Mary.
Hello. I want to start out by just letting everyone know when David is clowning about, he was gathering the strength of 30 men. That is literally just clowning. Yes, this kind of idea that men could gather strength from other men in some sort of positive way, and that this was seen as something needed in certain cultures or desirable. It does not exist in the Islamic world, did not exist in the Islamic world. He is clowning on Muslims because they choose to read everything in a negative light. And so he's like, fine, this exists in other cultures. We're going to do this in the negative light. There are actual scholars of Islamic homosexuality who address this explicitly, saying that, no, this does not exist. Even saying that, yes, this exists in other cultures, does not exist here. In Islamic culture, to be the receptive individual is shameful, period. It is shameful. And yeah, I think that Muhammad went out and had weird sex dreams all the time where he was being assaulted. And a lot of that was connected to his childhood of assault. And he might have had some sort of idea that he had to like fight off his demons in the desert, and then told a guy about his dreams. The guy's like, yeah, I totally saw what happened. Just like he told people that he chained up Satan in the mosque. But this is not, there was no positive connotation in terms of that this would ever possibly be good for the boy. In fact, the idea that intercourse was ever a positive experience for the recipient, it really wasn't supposed to be, even for women. Let's put it that way. Even recently, a Saudi man was explaining to a researcher their conception of sexuality, that it is the masculine behavior to go after whatever is available, be it boy, woman, or animal. Like this is explicit in the book Islamic Homosexualities, that this is the masculine behavior, is to go after anything that is available, and the idea of the recipient consenting or even caring about it is not in view. Let's put it that way. It is not in view whether or not the recipient is a willing participant or not. It is a matter of indifference. And in fact, if the participant does show happiness at that actual act, it is a degradation, especially for a male, because that is unmasculine, and there's a kind of owing someone there. Even as that person is degraded, there's an idea that that person has done something for you, so you owe them. But if they had a lot of fun doing it, well, then you don't owe them anything. And so that social reciprocity disappears in that view. This is not a culture where there is an idea of a loving union as such. There is an idea of a passionate union, but they don't really have a concept of love and any kind of Christianized idea in any context, including with women. There is not an idea of love in the same way. Women are operated on so that they hopefully do not derive too much pleasure, because that would be not modest. For a woman to enjoy intercourse would be immodest. So just the foreignness of this for Westerners is very, very hard for people to wrap their brain around. They do not have the ideas. Because if a woman did enjoy sex, then what would she do? She would seek sex, and then she would therefore be immodest, because what you've been to? They seek sex because they enjoy it. So let's understand the Islamic mentality. Let's understand the Arab pagan mentality that was adopted into Islam. This was among the most degraded cultures of the world, and they just absorbed it into Islam. So just as a background, anything you think about relationships in a Western mentality is incorrect. Muslim men typically love their wives the way they would love a good horse, not another person that you see as your corresponding part. So you have to understand the fundamental disconnect, because what is a woman? According to Allah, it is the woman is the receptacle for your passions. She is inferior in every way. She is not suitable. She is not a suitable partner. She is not a suitable counterpart. She is not that which is your other half. Like, that is not in view. And people in the West just don't understand the incredibly deep misogyny that also distorts what men are in this culture. So we really have to start out from this idea of what these interactions are. What is it to be a man? A man is someone who is a sexual aggressor. Sexual aggression is maleness. And that's what, I read last time about how who's the only man who will not come with sins according to Muhammad? It will be John the Baptist. Why? because he had a small PP and so didn't commit zina. That is the only way in which one who is masculine is not an aggressor, is because he's too small to do anything with it. Like, that is the view. So I really know it's hard, and people don't understand. Like, they kind of get the rape gangs at some level, that this is an act of war against another society. But you have to understand that if there wasn't anyone else to do that to, they would do it to any other girl, any Muslim girl who's available. No Muslim girls available. They would do it to any boy who was available. No boys available. They would do it to any animal that is available. And that is built into the culture, because to be a man is to be a sexual aggressor. So all these people are like, oh, rape culture, patriarchy. No. That's what the Arab culture is. That's how it defines what being a man is.
So Carol asked, how did Muhammad know that about John the Baptist? Well, you'll have to tune into the previous episode to get all the details. But short version, Muhammad remakes all the prophets in his own image. So take from that what you will.
Yeah, and keep in mind that female genital mutilation was pre-Islamic. It is a pagan behavior of a pagan mind. These are the pagan Arabs and their depraved pagan culture who are still pagan, and they just go, Allah, Hubalala is really the God of Abraham, and throw that on top of it. So this is going to be very dark, and there's no other way to talk about it that isn't very dark, but this is why Jinnah is what Jinnah is. Because to say that you would not be sexually penetrating those whom you would like to sexually penetrate for all of eternity would be for these pagans saying that you would cease to be a man. And Muhammad was even more hung up on this than most of these pagans. Because why? Because of his physiological shortcomings. Literally shortcomings. Not intentional, but again, the weight of the evidence points toward the fact that he probably had a micropenis. These are not oopsies. These are not accidental. This is not some sort of, oh, well, something went wrong in society. No, this is how they define who they are. And you have to understand that first. So, going into it, this is an AI-generated photo of a person. This is not a real child. I would not use a real child's photo, even blocking off the face, but it's an AI-generated photo with the face blocked off both. And keep in mind that Muhammad came out of the society and had no understanding of any other. This is a dude who thought that there were two types of books, sacred scripture and forgeries. Like, he was so immersed in his own culture with no understanding of any other way to be. When they went to Medina and the women had more freedom because they were around the Jews of Medina who did not beat their wives as severely. And so their wives would give their opinions. It was like, no, we need to go back to the pagan way, dude. Got to do the pagan thing. This also ties into what happened at night when the women went out to go to the bathroom. They weren't allowed to defecate except for at night in the fields, because that wouldn't be modest. So you need to go out under the cover of darkness. And that made them potentially the target of men. And again, I want to make it really clear. To the men, it is a matter of indifference as to whether or not the women they are targeting are interested in their intentions or not. And it is an obligation of the women to at least pretend that they aren't, because otherwise, then they're without, if they show enjoyment, even if you are selling yourself, you're not supposed to show that you are enjoying the act. That's not part of it. There's no girlfriend experience. That's not a goal for this. Okay. So whether or not the women are being subjected to attack or were able to meet up with lovers is entirely a matter of indifference to Umar or Muhammad. In both cases, it is the same thing. It's the same thing to them. So trying to get that understanding. And again, I really recommend the book Islamic Homosexualities. If you read a lot of the travel logs of Westerners, and a lot of them are not trying to make it all scandalous deliberately. They're just like, oh my gosh, this is our reaction. From our viewpoint, this is what we see. And I think it helps you, having a more Western viewpoint, to wrap your mind around these things, to have these people from the West who are in these societies before Muslims know how embarrassing this is because of how everyone else would view it. As long as they're still like, oh yeah, of course this is what we do. What else would we do? This is what everybody does, right? So I want to start out with that. It's a hard topic and it does not get any easier. And the fact that Muhammad was treated in this way has shaped Islam. It shaped him. It is built into the Arab mentality. And it really was a pattern from his youth. The man that he was closest to, that was closest to his father, is Abu Talib. Abu Talib absolutely abused him, without question. His grandfather is more questionable. Abu Talib abused Muhammad. There is like absolutely no question. So I'll go into the...
Before we get into the presentation, had a couple comments along this line. This actually makes sense with FGM. I never understood that. Yeah, so what Mary's saying, right, is that a woman is not supposed to enjoy it is not supposed to want it. So you help her out. You help her out by reducing that possibility to avoid the shame of desiring your husband. Very strange stuff. Let me take a couple super chats. Jack Ray gifted 50 memberships.
Early, and this is indeed a sign, yet most of them are not believers. Give alone to Allah, give alone to Allah. Ride the wings of Gabriel, give alone to Allah.
Thank you very much, Jack Ray. Make sure to ride those wings of Gabriel and give lots of loans to Allah. Thank you for that. Allah may not be repaying his debts. I don't know, but he does appreciate the loans either way. Songs of Relief with a super chat.
They give a loan to Allah. What is the reward? The reward in this life is that the money will come back double. You give 100, 200 will come back. Sooner or later. Believe me, all money that is given for the sake of Allah, it comes back. And I'm sure that all of you have experience.
Lots of experience with that, I'm sure. Songs of Relief says, both to the doer and the one to whom it is done, as a quote there. Familiar phrase. I obviously understand what it means. I, off the top of my head, don't know exactly where that is from, but appreciate the super chat. Yeah, imagine being angry at your girl for enjoying the sex. Very strange stuff. Very strange stuff. But, Mary's not just like saying this for the heck of it. Although the stream is dedicated to Maleek. We're not just trolling here. We're not just making stuff up. She's saying these things so that you have a better understanding of why things are the way they are. And again, although being abused certainly is not a reason to make fun of Muhammad or anyone else, in the case of Muhammad, since he's supposed to be the perfect example for everyone to follow, the effects of that abuse, unfortunately, are not just experienced by him, but are experienced by everyone who follows Muhammad's example and what they do to others. So it is a really, really bad situation, not something to laugh about necessarily, but it needs to be addressed, right? It needs to be addressed. And so here we are.
And someone said that, oh, maybe that's why women are okay with polygamy. And actually, no, they aren't. It is a matter of complete indifference as to what your wife wants or cares about. You have bought her. She is yours to use as you see fit. You have the right to take as many wives as you want. And of course she doesn't like it, but who cares? Would you ask your dog whether or not your dog was sad if you got another dog, if you really wanted another dog? No. Your wife has no more bearing on the choices that you make in life than a dog. People do not understand the level and depth of contempt that there is for the one who is not the aggressor. This is the world in which only men matter. Allah loves men more than he does women. He sends women to hell for not pleasing their husbands. And the husbands, well, all property belongs to the man, and he's spending out of his property for your food and clothing. Aren't you grateful? I mean, imagine going, oh, my kid doesn't want me to have another kid, so I'm not going to take that into account. You don't take into account whether or not a child wants another sibling. Your 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
You don't take that into account. You don't take into account whether or not your wife wants. Of course, your wife doesn't want another woman. She's just jealous and she just wants things and she's just greedy. People don't understand what true misogyny actually is because they have never gotten into the heads of people who are like this. And I think I might have a slight advantage because a lot of regular people are kind of like aliens to me in their pattern of thinking. So if I can understand what other people in my society value and care about, it isn't that much of a stretch for me to stick my head into, the mindset of someone from a completely different society, because I don't quite think the same way most people do. So it's like the opposite of autism, where you can't see mind theory. I have to figure everybody out because I'm kind of an odd duck. So,
Mary's so strange that Arabs, Westerners, whatever, they're all strange to her.
Everybody's strange. Everybody's kind of weird. you guys and your sports teams and things, I can understand it. I feel nothing. No team ever have I felt anything, but I can put my head in that headspace and understand it, right? So, I would tell my parents, I'm like, don't come to my sports. It's boring. Just stay home. It's okay. I understand it's boring. Just stay home. It's fine. I don't need to be It's all right. So,
oh, man. Don't bother going to my games. They're boring.
Just don't. So,
man, Mary.
Yeah. Well, the women who say they benefit from polygamy are the 3rd, 4th, 5th wives who have been cast out, who are social pariahs, that sort of thing, who are cycling through, who could not get a man of the level that they are getting as a second husband if they had to have a man actually be devoted to them. So the women who are first wives all hate polygamy. Second wives are getting into it on purpose, usually because they're considered used goods or they're so low class that they have no other options. So they're like, but this will help me get up. Doesn't matter who it hurts. Doesn't matter that my kids will also be damaged by this. Why? Because I don't have a chance of having non-damaged kids anyway. So at least I'll have a husband who has the money to support me. So, and the loudest women who are defenders of polygamy, their husbands haven't married anyone else. They haven't. And Muhammad himself, guess what he said? He did not allow anyone to marry. He didn't allow any of his sons-in-law to marry anyone else while his daughters were alive, or even have sex slaves. Why? Because he said, it hurts my daughters, and what hurts them hurts me.
Yeah, it's strange, right? When it comes to his own daughters, he understands. But when it comes to anyone else's daughters, nope. You got to do this. This is what Allah wants. Very strange.
Setting this up, this is a really, really good book. I read a lot across different genres. I read from the point of view of people who are in the culture, people looking at the culture, that kind of things. I think this is the single best book that I've encountered that encapsulates and explains things for people who like spells it out. And it's Islamic homosexualities. And these guys are all for it because they're both rampant homosexuals, of course. And again, the word homosexual is an illegitimate word, bluntly. It's an illegitimate word that was made up in the West when the idea of sexual orientation was invented, which never existed in the history of the world until very recently. It is making up words to redefine things into a class that they never existed in. So, very important to understand this from the Islamic point of view. And this is from the point of view of many societies. But this is Arab culture that became Islamic culture. So as noted, having been sodomized damages someone's reputation only if the behavior becomes known. If one starts to like being sodomized, the behavior is almost certain to become known. And some say that one penetration, whether by force, for money, or in play by an older cousin, because yes, sexually attacking a younger cousin is permissible play, might be enough to become addicted. Now, to be clear, let's understand something about human physiology, male or female. Forcible penetration can cause physiological responses, including orgasm. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And having experienced something that causes what can be defined as physical pleasure associates certain things with that experience of pleasure, so you are more inclined toward those things. This is like everyone being like, oh, I'm so confused. Why is everyone doing all sorts of really weird stuff when it comes from the porn that people are watching? Because they need escalation, so they get into weirder and weirder stuff. And the transvestitism that's becoming very common is a genre of pornography that people are getting into. And that is causing them to find that enjoyable over time. It is through the exposure and the association. And this is how it works, whether or not you do self-grooming, let's say, or you are groomed by others. The idea that people are just born attracted to either men or women or animals or balloons or eating or being eaten, like that does not exist. It's not. All of the oddities are through a kind of alteration of one's mind in that direction, one way or another. So all of the odd stuff happens through acculturation of some type. Whether or not you are doing it to yourself or other people are doing it to you, whether or not it is voluntary or whether or not it is forcible. Okay? So a big portion of the fear is that if this happens to me, I might be among that smaller percentage of people who end up enjoying it so much that not only am I doing it for money, not only am I doing it for because I have to in the friend group, that's the kid that gets that happened to him. That's the way friend groups worked for many until very recently in Islamic societies. That's how friend groups work. Every friend group that there was with young boys, there would be someone who was chosen to be the one that all the other boys used. And there was a fear that you might become one of the shameful individuals who did not even essentially outgrow it, who did not, when you were 15 or 16 and were big enough to, there were other smaller kids who were picked on and you were big enough to fight off most of the other kids. And so it was no longer you, that you might become one of those who chose an effeminate lifestyle after that point because you liked the money, you liked what it became acculturated to the subculture or something else. So that was what this fear is, that it might be enough to become addicted. You might become one of those who were the men who continued to work in this space past teenagehood. So the danger of starting to enjoy being penetrated and then desiring and seeking it is part of a transcontinental Islamic cosmology. To most Muslims, anal lust is not really unnatural. Again, masculinity is defined by sexual aggression toward anyone or anything that can be made receptive. Anyone or anything. So the goat and the boy and the girl who is left unguarded, all the same. If you do not go after the girl, it is only because you think that more things might happen in consequence of that. Not because of any moral qualms on your part. Because remember, Allah is the one who has written for you all of your zina. All of your lusts, Allah has made you do. So one has to avoid getting, I censored a lot of these, do not censor that one. Had intercourse with precisely in order not to acquire a taste for it and thus become addicted. It's like an infectious disease. Once infected, it's difficult to get rid of it. By the way, overwhelmingly, those who identify in this new made-up category of homosexual male were groomed as preteens and teens by older people, even in the West. Again, just want to be clear. So, no, Zoe, that's completely untrue. You're saying that rape is never about attraction, it's about dominance and control. Again, that is a fiction that is woven by people in psychology based on men who were felonious rapists of women they had never met before. No, that's not true.
So just to clarify, Mary, you're not saying that it isn't a possible motive. You're just saying that attraction can also be a motive. Yes?
I'm saying it's almost never. It's the kind of people who feloniously hide in the dark and assault runners might and are escalating to serial killer status. It's about dominance and control. It's about dominance and control if that is part of your pathway to serial killer and you just haven't gotten there.
Isn't it arguably about control within Islam, though? I mean, because
No, it's about expressing your masculinity. It's about lust. It is
but
about
I mean,
lust.
that's not really. I mean, it could be about attraction, but I mean, expressing your masculinity isn't necessarily about attraction.
Well,
But I mean, you're not necessarily
it's not
attracted
about
to.
dominance and control. It's about the fact that you are horny.
But I mean, you use the term aggression repeatedly.
Yeah.
Right?
That you are the
Aggression isn't
aggressor,
about
meaning, well,
about
penetrator.
but aggression,
shall I say.
right? Yeah, I know. But aggression isn't about attraction.
This is
It's
about lust.
controlling someone.
So no, it's not. It's not about controlling someone. It's about the fact that to identify as male, you are identifying as one who has lots of lust, that you have a high sex drive, and that you have needs, they would call it. Right? I have a need, so I'm going to take out this need on whatever there is. So it's not about specifically trying to do something negative to the object that you are doing it to necessarily. They're not trying to punish the sheep. They're not trying to punish the boy.
Well, yeah, I mean,
They're not
obviously,
trying to punish the woman. They're not trying to dominate and control them either, really. They're just,
I mean, it's some
I'm a
but,
male.
I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
Lust is a possibility. I just don't think that it's the only possibility.
It is the overwhelming reason is that the idea of controlling your desires and that curbing of the lust is almost unmasculine in this construction. So the promiscuity, the lustiness, the everything else that's tied to the masculinity. That if you feel this, then you have a right. It's more about having the right to satiate yourself on whatever presents itself. So it's not really about trying to humiliate, control, everything else. That is again going into the serial killer territory, and that's not the motive behind most of these people. They don't like, we want to make it even, like it's revolting, it's depraved, but they want to, there's this desire to make it this extra level of sinisterness that, they have issues with women, so they want to punish them. No, I have lust. Allah has given this to me. So I get to do whatever I can do. Whatever opportunity I have has been given to me, and it's an indifference. It's an indifference to anyone else, especially women, but it's an indifference. It's not about, unless they're again using a civilizational jihad. In their own countries, it's about indifference to the object that they are
right. Okay, so I guess I was particularly hung up on the word attraction there, because what you're describing isn't about attraction, right? You just literally said indifference. So it's about desire.
It's indifference to what they feel like. So you would have preferences.
But I mean, okay, I seriously doubt that anyone who is pleasuring themselves with a goat is attracted in the same sense that they'd be attracted to a beautiful person, to the goat, but they desire the sexual pleasure. And
well,
so it's not about controlling the goat or dominating the goat, clearly.
Yeah.
But it's not really about attraction either.
Well,
unless you're saying attraction to the sex act or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So if they had other options, they would choose whichever option is most attractive. At that moment, their most attractive option is the goat, and without another option, the goat is what gets it. Again, we've had gang rapes of horses by Muslim men who have come to the West, and people haven't thought, oh, I need to lock up my horse, or otherwise it'll be gang raped.
Why would you think that?
Like, because that was what was available to them. So that is what they used. If they had something more attractive to them than that, they would choose it. But, you know, it's like a guy at a buffet for them. They will choose whatever is available that looks the most palatable to them. But if there's only kind of a crappy buffet available, they'll fill up on that too. So trying to get more into the mentality, because people just don't. It's almost sociopathic, but it is like this level of sociopathy is ingrained in a number of cultures, and people just don't understand it. They don't understand, like, it's not sexual sociopathy, and for example, the Far East, but the idea that we do it for the family. Who is the family? It's the oldest man in the hierarchy. That's who the family is. That's what everything's for. That's the purpose of your life, is that you are a wheel in this machine that benefits that man at the top of the hierarchy. Humans as objects and animals as objects, like a hammer, is very, very common. And just why would I care what the hammer thinks? That is the level of the mentality, and just this idea that people are, they're those that you have different types of relationships with, and the relationship of use, like a hammer, is one of them. So, yeah, it is very much a Scattered Storm Clouds channel at the moment. So just trying to, I know it's really, really hard to wrap your mind around something that's so weird and strange and foreign. It's like, no, people can't be like, no, they are, and they have been for thousands of years. They have been like this. So continuing on.
Just real quick, there was a question earlier about the source there. The book is called Islamic Homosexuality. So let the record show that Mary strongly endorses Islamic homosexualities.
It's Stephen O. Murray and Will Roscoe, and I'm telling you guys, this is a rough read. And yes, it is like the Poor River Dolphins. Absolutely. It is not a joke. They are there. Allah has made me lustful. Allah prefers me. Other things are like a hammer. I'm going to use it. So again, page 20, once a boy is known to have been penetrated, whatever is his own reactions to the experience, he is fair game for others. The Dutch psychologist Andreas Epnik reported from his fieldwork in Morocco. Boys look for younger boys, 7 to 13 years old, and in other instances, it's 5 to 25 for the frequency of those who are in this kind of area. Because if you are we're a slave. Now, if you are poor, you can get trapped in this for a long time, even if you are unwilling. And then for a lot of them, what happens when they get older, they become the pimps and recruit others, and they perpetuate this. But anyway, they look for younger boys.
The authors, Mary?
Yep. Let me write it in here. I'm writing in the chat. It is Stephen O. Murray and Will Roscoe. So once a boy is known to have been penetrated, whatever his own reactions to the experience, he is fair game for others. Boys look at younger boys, 7 to 13, who are fit for this. Persuasion is affected by nice words, money, or force. From my conversations, it is clear that tips are exchanged about boys, young men, or men who could be or are fit. Usually one cannot claim somebody for oneself. This informing has a consequence that some boys get the reputation of Zamo, someone submitting to anal intercourse. If a boy has this image, it will be most difficult for him to submit another from his own circle He will be forced to fulfill the passive role until he goes outside his circle or gets married. So I'm sure a lot of you kind of know how a group of 10 or 5 to 10 boys who hang around a lot, right? That a lot of times in these friend groups, there's kind of the boy who's a little bit odd, the smaller, weedier kid, or there's kind of one kid there. He's a friend. He's in the group, but he's a little bit of the outsider, right? Mm-hmm. He's the kid who kind of always goes home crying. And don't please your kids. That is the kind of friend group that a lot of boys will develop. In this case, guess what happens to that one kid? He's in the circle. He's in the circle as what? So, yeah. It is considered, and I know this is in this book. I could not find it this time, but it is, if you are the oldest son, pretty much never happens to you if your father is married to your mother. But if you are a child, a fatherless child, or a much younger son, one of the younger sons, then it is considered almost inevitable that this will happen to you. So, continuing on, a penetrated boy.
Before you do, I wanted to emphasize there, right? The text here says younger boy 7 to 13, and Mary said as young as 5 in some instances. And the point is to get someone before the age of puberty. So 13, right? Not that someone who is above the age of puberty wouldn't also be a possibility, but you got to start them young.
Yes.
Is the idea here. And
I
mean, just think about that. Just think about it, right? As bad as raping an adult is, which is a horrific thing.
Well, these are older boys. These are boys who are between the ages of 14 and 18 themselves, typically.
Exactly. So you're talking about a young child who doesn't really understand what is happening to them, and it's being normalized, and then
normalized,
and then you grow up and this has become normalized in your mind because you're attacked before you're old enough to know what is happening. And then what do? Well, you pass it on to the next generation.
And again, about 90% of the boys who are used in this way, 90% plus, end up becoming sexual aggressors once they get old enough and large enough themselves. So, and then a small percentage of them become professional recipients, shall we say, and fulfill that role in the society. But unless they had been sold into slavery and really kind of this is your role, this is what you've started, this is what you are now. And bachabazi, they're basically slaves. You can't really get out of it. You're from a class where you can't escape until you get to a certain age, when you are too old for anyone to care about you, even though you pluck all your beard out. Like this is this is what it is. And Carol pointed out that this infiltrated Britain through boarding school culture, because what happens, you have poorly supervised, this is Lord of the Flies stuff, like actual Lord of the Flies stuff, and British boarding schools were kids who were very often never raised properly by their parents, are thrown into these low supervision societies. I mean, this is literally why the book Lord of the Flies became the expectation that this would happen, because of how horrible British boarding schools were. And guess where Men who went to British boarding schools and wanted to continue to victimize people went after they graduated. The first sex tourist location in the world was North Africa, because you could get a boy delivered to your room, as Keyes the Economist bragged, that you would go to a hotel and you would order a drink and a boy. So
Lovely.
yeah. Continuing on, a penetrated boy attracts the bachelors of the community like a pot of honey draws flies. One is known to be available and talked about, and this was in French originally. That's why what is what in the parentheses. Everyone goes to him to relieve their needs, sometimes by force. It would be shocking if he refused once he had been breached. A proper boy keeps himself sealed tight. The one who is open becomes the whore of the other boys and thereby helps save theirs. The boys have lust. Somebody's going to need to be the recipient for that. They don't have any girls who are made available, because everybody knows what the boys will do. If girls are available, they will do this to them. The girls, can't walk to school alone. Why? Because this would happen to them, because that is what male sexuality is. It is a lust that seeks whatever is most attractive for it at that moment and available. It is like an educational game. One will be the bottom for all. The first who relaxes his guard, is used. By the age of 15 or 16, a Zamal typical, loses his admirers, or he starts refusing advances. He then becomes a man. Then he has intercourse with boys and courts girls. So once your beard starts growing in, for a lot of these older boys, you lose attraction, but also you are able to assert yourself, and you are able to assert yourself as a man now.
Mm-hmm.
So
put differently, you're strong enough to stop people from attacking you. So they move on to an easier target.
Yeah.
Or, they become, the people who were literally abusing you, they've become adults, and maybe they have their 4 wives now that they can go after, or whatever, right? They may not need you anymore, and you're capable of stopping them. But now you're an adolescent, and what do? Well, you don't have any girls available, right? They are protected. They are kept, they're kept in their houses. They're kept with their family, so they're not available. So what do? You go after little boys yourself. Lovely cycle.
And I just to be clear, like, what happens if parents find out that one of their sons is used that way? They blame the son. Because, you let this happen. Of course they're going to do that. That's what men do. Men do this, and you didn't guard yourself enough. You screwed up.
Yeah, imagine blaming. Imagine, it's bad enough when someone would blame an adult for being attacked, but imagine blaming a little kid that they are attacked sexually. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable.
And so a lot of people, there are people who are more vulnerable than others. Very often, male or female, if you have been attacked once, you are often identified as, even if the other people have no idea that this happens to you, because of just the way you carry yourself, the way you act, you look like you can be victimized. And it tends to happen again and again to the same people. The same girls are attacked, the same boys are attacked, because they are seen as an easy target by people who are predatory. And so being a target, think about it this way. Everybody knows the kid who can be rage baited, right? The boy who's going to flip out and just go into hysterical tears at the age of 11 or 12 or 13 or 14. You know who that is.
Mhm.
In the same way, predators can identify prey. And it's not, and so those who are targeted are seen as valid targets for this abuse in these cultures. So I know this is dark, guys. So
yeah. So Arlet decided to check out Too Traumatic for her, and I perfectly understand.
Yeah.
I perfectly understand anyone who wants to check out, who doesn't want to hear this for one reason or another. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Right. Perfectly fine. But
and yeah, someone
needs
else
to
is
be
saying
talked
that, yeah, I was a rage bait kid. I was a kid who was, and the thing is, being someone who is identified as a victim, as someone easy to victimize, the way people are easy to rage bait, that doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it excusable. But in this kind of society, oh, this person is shy. This person is very, very respectful of elders. This person is not someone who will talk back. This person is, a very shy person, a very reserved person would be a greater target. Why? Because they're less likely to fight back. These are not like, this is not you being bad in any way. It is those who are the most vulnerable, those who are the most in need of protection are given the least and blamed in this society. They are given the least protection and then they are blamed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even now you get some of this, well, why didn't you say something? Well, it's the kids who won't say something that people pick on, right? That's why they're choosing those kids. Because they feel that they are less likely to do that. It is.
Yeah. So, all of you in the audience obviously were kids at one point. Some of you were probably popular, but probably most of you were picked on by at least some people. And you know what it feels like to be an outsider, right? To be ostracized in some respect by your friend group. You might not know what Mary's describing, but you could probably understand why someone who is already, a fringe member of the friend group or whatever, isn't going to be doing going and telling and jeopardizing what status they do have.
Yep.
And thus why that child is picked. It's not like kids are internalizing, well, this person's less likely to, are externalizing, this person is less likely to tell on us, but they have absorbed the idea, hey, this is someone who is going to be more receptive, right? Is going to be less of a problem to go after. And thus that kid is targeted. The exact same reason why they're targeted in a Western society for bullying or being made fun of, or however you want to put that. The same exact reasons why that child puts up with that in a Western society, they're going to put up with the sexual aggression in a society where that exists.
Yep. And that is very much the case. And I was, of course, a massive loner and thought that my peers were kind of these alien creatures to observe and be friendly with, but I didn't they'd call me friend, I'd call them friend, but I didn't have what might be called a bosom friend with anyone because they just were like alien creatures to me. And again, I'm like the anthropologist from Mars, so it's easier with this. But yes. And this is, and they use their authority, they use their position, they use everything else. And it can be, oh, I'm the one being nice to you. child who is a little bit, who isn't the center of attention, right? Who isn't in the middle of everything. Here am I being kind to you. Look at this. I'm doing these special things for you. And all of this happens here, but it is embedded in the culture as being what is just done. This is what is done. There's no denial in terms of, no one would do that. No. This is how this works. This is how this works. And like, for me, adults were terrified of me from a very young age. And some of them would treat me quite brutally because they were so scared of me, but they wouldn't try to victimize me. I frightened adults from a very, very young age. And those who were insecure were just, and I was raised with a massive amounts of respect. So I didn't understand how someone who could be an adult could behave this way, even though there were a number of people who did. But like I watched as other things happened around me and saw how these interactions could become incredibly damaging and negative. Incredibly damaging and negative. And here again, this is in every male friend group, this would have been the norm. The whole Islamic Brotherhood, let's go back to our Muslim roots. Really, that is a product of colonialism in which they are claiming that this isn't inherently Islamic now. The idea that we don't, that this is no longer universal. I mean, this book, Islamic Homosexuality, decries the bringing in of all of this these foreign ideas and prudery where we don't do this anymore. But again, these are colonial ideas that you wouldn't do this in native Arab society, Islamic society. Every friend group would have this. Every friend group would have this boy who is picked on by, if not all, most of, and sexually used by most of the other boys within the group. Mm-hmm. And that's just how it was. So when we're talking about Muhammad, remember, he was an orphan and he was considered very much on the very fringes of the society. So when Hamza got drunk and started chopping up camels with his sword, he said to Muhammad while drunk, saying that, basically, why are you trying to speak to me? All you were is one of my father's slaves. You were like a slave of my father. At this time, men would keep, the vast majority of men would keep at least one boy in addition to their wives for their enjoyment of that particular outlet. And when we get to Muhammad, we have an explanation for the extreme attention that Abdul Muttalib gives to him. It's like, oh, he will have a great future. That's why he will have a great future. He's sitting on his grandfather's bed that no one else is allowed to sit on. He would make him sit on the bed and would stroke his back. The bed that no one else was allowed to sit on. And you could say, well, he was really, really fond of him. Oh, was he? To whom did he give Muhammad's guardianship when he died? Abu Lahab famously wanted to be Muhammad's guardian. And Abu Lahab was like a super stand-up guy. He paid, whenever someone got captured, while the Meccans got captured by a neighboring tribe and held for ransom, he paid him off. He's the one who saved Muhammad's life. He wanted to be the guardian of Muhammad, had absolutely no inclinations in this direction that were particularly well known, but he was given instead to Abu Talib, who of all the sons of Abdul Muttalib was the one who was known as the pederast. He had the clearest pederastic preferences of any of them. And to whom did Abdul Muttalib give the boy? To the pederast. So I do not believe that there would be no expectation that an uncle would not abuse a nephew given the chance. He was given over to him because he was doing something nice for Abu Talib. He did not have a special care for Muhammad, and that is why I believe that he began to be abused by his uncle, or by his grandfather, before his uncle. So whenever they were trying to get Abu Talib to stop supporting Muhammad, they said, we will give you the most handsome young man instead. Stop supporting him. We will give you the most handsome young man. It's like, oh, to adopt. Yes, to adopt. No. He had four sons already. He didn't need to adopt anyone. He couldn't afford his sons. And two of his sons were being taken care of by other people because he couldn't afford to support his own sons. No.
Well, besides that,
the handsome.
why would being attractive matter for adopted son? You know, like the most obedient or the hardest working or the kindest or something, but handsome.
The most handsome.
That's a very strange thing to say.
Yep. So he was being offered a boy to stop, the most handsome boy to stop supporting Muhammad. We also have the narration where Abu Talib is talking about, how peculiar Muhammad is. He said to Al-Abbas, shall I not tell you about Muhammad and what I saw from him? So I took him to me, and I couldn't stand to leave him for an hour, night or day. I wanted him with me at all times. I made him sleep in my bed. Keep in mind, this is an 8-year-old. I ordered him one night to take off his clothes and sleep with me. And when he got into the bed, he would often have the clothing still on. He would ask him to look away when he got naked. Why would you be naked in bed at this time? You didn't,
I don't know
sleep
what the
naked with
custom
boys.
was.
You did not sleep. No. But
I mean, I wouldn't sleep. I don't sleep naked.
They didn't either.
Ever.
At all. Ever.
But okay.
This was not a thing then. They were not sleeping naked under their blankets. They weren't sleeping naked. Because again, your body linen is that which you would typically wash. You wouldn't wash your bedding nearly as often as your body linen. And they were not certainly not sleeping naked with one another, but he would want the boy to get naked in the bed. And there's another version of this where he would get into bed and he would discover, oh, he still had his shirt on. Oh, isn't that funny? Right?
Oh, yes, very funny.
He would also slip out of bed and he would go hunting after him. Guys, this is a married man. He has a wife.
Wait.
Why is he sleeping naked with an 8-year-old?
So he has a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of sleeping in the same bed as her, he's sleeping in the same bed as a naked boy. Yes. And that we're not supposed to draw any conclusions about this. Right. Nothing unusual here. That's totally what married men do, is they want to sleep in the same bed. So no idiom, just to sleep in the same bed as naked boys for non-sexual reasons. That's just totally normal. What the heck? And
his obsession with Muhammad as a young boy was well known. You know, the whole I didn't want him apart from me an hour, night or day. That's typical behavior of the men who were obsessed by their boys before they had reached maturity. So they had to come up with a reason for why on earth Muhammad was going on caravan trips with Abu Talib as a boy. Because the only people going on these caravan trips are supposed to be adult men who are able to guard the caravan, warriors. And keep in mind that Muhammad was old enough to fight in the later wars, and yet he never did. He never fought in the sacrilegious war, even though he was old enough by the time it ended. Weirdly, he was only given the arrows. Why? That would probably be because he was not considered man enough to fight. And that might relate to some of his physical abnormalities. Again, that would have been known by those of his age. They would have been found out and at least whispered about.
I mean, if you're sleeping naked in the same bed as them.
Yeah.
So do have a question here. I mean, I know the answer, but for the sake of audience, Nodi asked, do y'all think those are actually authentic historical reports, or are you just granting it within Sunni Islamic tradition?
No, I think a lot of these are authentic. The thing is that they need to deal with why was it that his grandfather used to make him sit on the bed? Well, it's because he's a really special person. Why was it that Abu Talib was obsessed with him? Well, it's because this soothsayer came and told him that he was going to be super, super special. That's why. So he's super protective of him. It's totally non-sinister. So these are recasting of historical things that needed to be explained.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't having them sleep in the bed because of the soothsayer. No, he was already known to sleep in the bed. They have to come up with a reason for it. Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with you that from a historical standpoint, they seem to, the easier explanation seems to be that these are, modifications of historical events as opposed to made up wholesale. Because, I mean, you could make up a much easier story about, a soothsayer or whatever, right? Without any weird elements. So the story does seem to try to be explaining away the weird elements. That said, I'm curious as to where these stories would be coming from, though, as far as like a source goes, because it's not like, Muhammad becomes a prophet 2 years after this happens or something, right?
Well, this came from Ibn Abbas almost certainly, because this is something that was said to Ibn Abbas's dad.
So from his cousin, that's approximately the same age, yes?
Ibn Abbas is considerably younger. Is like 10 years, 15 years younger.
So, okay, so that doesn't help then. All right, so you got something being done to Muhammad when he's like, 10, 12 years old. And then you're saying the source of it is someone 10 years younger than him. So obviously they couldn't.
Well, he heard it from Abbas.
Right. He heard it from his dad, which would be Muhammad's uncle or whatever. But why would people be talking about that 10 years later or 15 years later or whatever? Right. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, people would be talking about it in terms of trying to recast it into, how special Muhammad is with his modesty.
No. I mean, I get why it needs to be recast once Muhammad is, claiming to be a prophet, but I don't understand why people even knew about it to need to recast it.
Because, well, in terms of him sleeping with them, everybody would have known about it and grown up knowing about Abu Talib sleeping with him. And now they're saying, oh, look, he's such a modest boy. Nothing was happening. He was so incredibly modest. Look at him, the modest boy. Nothing could possibly be happening. He is a modest boy who kept himself from his uncle.
As if that's modest. Under control of the boy. But anyway.
So
I mean, I agree that the evidence seems to suggest they're historical. I'm just struggling to understand why people would be telling these stories, right? Why before the recast, why people would be telling them in the first place.
Well, because he had, before the recast, because he had plenty of people who did not like him and who were forced conversions. It's like, haha, you know, that this happened with Muhammad when he was a boy. I mean, they're the Umayyads were entirely false converts, every single one of them. Not one of them believed in Muhammad. You know, Uthman, who is a distant cousin, it does. But that line, they're grifters. And so, you know, the stories would continue to circulate, and then they would need a defense. They would need a defense. It wasn't something that you can just bury.
Mad Monkey said because it was normal, but see, if it was just normal, then there wouldn't need to be an explanation.
Well, it is normal, but it's normal and
it would be
for him.
It would be something that people are talking about, right? I guess it depends on what you mean by normal. It's not something that happens to everyone, and Mary's not saying it's something that happens to everyone. So I could see that Muhammad might have had the reputation, right? He might have had the reputation of being the friend, let's just say it that way, the friend who was available, you know, when he was young, and now everyone's older, but they still remember him being available. That is a possibility. I could see how that.
I mean, that is absolutely the case, as we're going to see later. His own cousin did this to him. But Abu Talib's obsession with him was extremely well known because it was so exaggerated. Again, the only people who ought to be going on a caravan should be fighting age men. But, you know, Abu Talib brought him along. Oh, it's because of his soothsaying. He knew he was going to be super special. And it's really good that he brought him along on this trip, because then he met Bahira, and then all of this was confirmed that he's a super, super special person. And so they needed to add this special thing that happened on this trip. So it's good that he went on this trip, and Abu Talib was right to take him on this trip. And it totally wasn't that Abu Talib was a pederast. Because again,
and here, right, and here it's obvious, right? The details about like having to sit on his grandfather's bed and stuff, that's what I was like, I don't know how that gets, but I mean, here's obvious, right? There's lots of men who witnessed this, and if it would be weird for someone to bring a little kid along on these travels, so the fact that happens, people remember that makes perfect sense.
His grandfather's bed is not just in his house. Any place he set up his bed, he would have Muhammad sitting next to him and would pet him. So that particular one was in the shadow of the Kaaba. He would set up his bed, and nobody else was allowed on it except for Muhammad, whom he would pet. So
you're saying this was like publicly viewable?
Yes. This is in the shadow of the Kaaba. Even there, he would set up a little, like a bed. They would sleep in the enclosure sometimes to like get benefits from it. So yeah, this is actually happening. Thus the apostle was left to his grandfather, for whom they made a bed in the shade of the Kaaba. His sons used to sit around the bed till he came out to it, but none of them sat upon it out of respect for him.
I gotcha. So like, this is during the day, right? I think,
this is even
right? during the day, not while anyone is sleeping in the bed, but during the day, like, you know, kids are playing, maybe they're playing on some of the beds, but they're avoiding this bed out of respect, right? That's the story.
Yeah.
But Muhammad, he's allowed to sit on that bed.
Yep.
I got
and made to sit on the bed while he's being pet. So,
and then Art said, why would you record this? A little condemning, right? The reason you record it is because there's rumors going around about this that are a little condemning, as you put. And so you write it down, but you recast it in a positive light. That's why you write it down.
So even to this day in Afghanistan, truckers will have a young man or boy with them between the ages of 5 and 25 that would be their traveling companion for their sexual outlet. This has ancient roots, and in Pakistan and Afghanistan, it would get to the point where they would dress up the boys like girls. They were scented, depilated, rouged, hennaed, and adorned with long silken pomaded hair and cauldron provocative eyes. So, and they were even put in the litters, the camel litters they carried around, but without the exaggeration of all the feminine trappings. You know, if you had a boy with you on a caravan and he could not be a defender, there's only one other reason that he would be there. And that would be to be your companion, your sexual companion. So Muhammad's being taken there. And again, you need to have a reason for him being taken. And so you make up this entire plot where all of this is justified because Bahira says that, oh, he was the true prophet, etc., etc. So there's also a kind of obligation and a social tie that develops even from being used in this way. There is a fondness for the boy that you used to make use of, where a lot of times there would be ties of social obligation to that person to set them up later in life and help them out. In the story, you know, the story of adult breastfeeding, it's super, at first you're like, oh, this guy must not have had any sons of his own. No, he had sons. He adopted a slave anyway. Why did he adopt a slave to be a son too? Most likely it's because the slave was the former object of his sexual attentions, and out of a sense of you acquire social debt, and having been used in this way, as well as a certain fondness, that there's now an obligation toward that person to help them out. And in some segments of Islamic society, it gets to, you know, there's actually a standing joke as how do you get to be a great mullah or a great Islamic scholar or whatever later in life, or succeed in politics? Well, it's by making yourself as sexually available to tons of men before. Even though that itself is shameful, you create ties of social ties that later on, when you are no longer within this identity and you are now no longer the recipient, but the man, they now have obligations toward you that they should fulfill these obligations and help you out in some way. So, for example, one noticed that an Andalusian boy lover was allowed his beloved access to his harem. So he gave him access to the women there because in return for the favor of being the recipient of his attentions. So when Muhammad asked Abu Talib for his daughter's hand in marriage, it wasn't just that they were first cousins. It wasn't just that he was the guardian, but it was also this sexual relation would create a social obligation, considering that, I mean, he certainly wasn't a true slave, and yet he was denied. So that kind of shows how low his social status was in this. So the fact that he had most likely had that wife swap thing whenever he couldn't get his own wife pregnant, and Abu Talib slept with Khadija and let Muhammad most likely sleep with his wife, was probably partly related to the fact that they had this previous standing obligation tie that he could call upon to have Abu Talib agree more with that. And again, some of the best evidence for the fact that this existed is whenever Muhammad climbed down in her grave, all the Islamic men who were watching thought he was having intercourse with her. why would they think that he was having intercourse with his dead aunt? Well, that would be why, because there were rumors that he had this pre-Islamic relationship with her. So, Muhammad's extreme and well-known dislike of being as exposed as the other boys would partly be explained by the fact that he was the sexual target of his fellows. His whole, the angels told me to put my shirt back on so I wouldn't expose myself. Part of that was probably shyness because of the mole, which is on the left side, which was the sinister side, and would have indicated some kind of jinn fate interaction anyway. Was going to be part of it, but also most likely this kind of avoidance of attracting attention when you're already the subject of attention. So, this is the story about Muhammad talking about his cousin Abu Sufyan who had sexually abused him. So he is told that various people want to come and see him, including Abu Sufyan, and he doesn't want to see him at first. In this narration, he allows him to come in, but he didn't want to see him at first. And Al-Albani, several other sources, his response is, I have no need for them, for Abu Sufyan and his son and others. As for my cousin, Abu Sufyan, he has dishonored me. And as for my cousin and son-in-law, he is the one who said to me in Makkah what he said when he went, and then he didn't want to see him, but then eventually he gave in. So he has dishonored me. That word, the dishonor, degradation, it especially has the meaning of sexual assault, indecent assault, disgrace, dishonor, but rape, ravishment, violation, rape. That is the main meaning of the word. The main meaning is a sexual violation. So he's saying that I don't want to see this cousin because he was one who sexually violated me before. So Muhammad having this background and having all of his sexual hangups kind of gives you the basis for him blowing hot and cold on the homosexuality. He's borrowing from the Jewish sources that say that the activities of the people of Lot are wicked, but then the punishment for it is very mild in the Quran. There are a couple of hadith that say that he gave harsh punishments, but there's not a single instance of a harsh punishment ever being doled out by Muhammad, or in fact any record of any punishment being doled out by him for homosexuality. Ali rather was known to absolutely hate homosexuality, but Muhammad didn't really seem to punish it. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, let me, since you're paused anyway, let me take a couple of super chats from Songs of Relief.
If you want your wealth to increase in this dunya, then give sadaqah more and more. Every single day, 2 angels come down. One of them is making dua for those who give. He says, Ya Allah, give those who give.
I learned about FGM at age 8 and read their reasoning why. This has been the issue I'd most like to see ended since childhood, beliefs and attitudes that cause FGM. And yet, this is one of the few things that the West in general will be opposed to. Now, they'll say it's not Islamic, right? If they're liberally minded, they'll say it's not Islamic, it's a cultural thing. But there is pretty much universal desire to end FGM.
Unfortunately, I hate to say this, it's changing a lot. A lot of leftists are like, well, it's their cultural practice. You guys don't understand. You're painting it in the wrong picture. And there's unfortunately a growing sentiment among leftists to defend this too, because anything that anti-Christians do, it must be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Misha SWB with a member message. And I wasn't sure if it would read that. I got to remember to fix it so it'll read the member messages too. But I'll read it. Gaga trees don't snitch. Very aggressive. Indeed. They don't. Thank you for being a member for the past 15 months. I don't know why I said 16. I can read. Really, I can. All right, let's continue on with the show.
So, there is no place in Muhammad's mind in which a lust is something that there's no real place for self-control. The best you get is, avert your eyes, turn your eyes down, don't look, not control your lust.
Yeah, so
avoid the lust.
Avoid being tempted, but not control it once it happens.
Right. If you have the temptation, then there's just the assumption that it will be acted upon. That's why girls are mutilated. That's why boys are the girls are kept from the boys, because that's going to happen. And that's just, Allah has written for you the zina. There is no idea in his mind that once you have that, you're not going to act on it. It's entirely foreign. And thus, in Jinnah, knowing that men you're going to have camels too. If you want a camel, you can have a camel. But knowing that men like females and like males, Muhammad wants to provide them the best of both in his viewpoint, which means a prepubescent girl barely entering puberty, again, Tanner stage 2, and young boys between 7 and 13 forever. And that is what you have, because the idea that, what, are you going to be unmanned in Jinnah? You're no longer going to be a man if you don't have the if you are no longer a sexual penetrator, then you will be unmanned. And it's about navigating these arbitrary rules. And these arbitrary rules show you that there's it's the rules of the game. The rules of the game. You beat the game within the rules, and you have all of these ways of getting away with various other activities that are outside the rules. All of these breaks, all these special allowances, all of these things that you can do so that you can get through, all the cheat codes to get through so that you win the game. And then at the end, what do you get to be? You get to be a super white man with many, many male and female objects for your desire, so you can express your maleness through your finery, through your extravagant possessions, through your sexual penetration of others. And because the viewpoint of Islam is so fundamentally pagan Arab in its identity, but just barely brushed with any other idea, this is what you end up with. And it's this is forever. By the way, Islamic homosexuality puts the number of boys who are victimized in, they said, madrasas, schools, and I forget what the third institution is. But the first one was madrasas, 1 in 9. 1 in 9. So generative principle, if you don't want a 10-year-old girl in heaven, well, then you get a 10-year-old boy, because that's what That's what else would you want? What could be better than that? And the fact that a 10-year-old girl would not have any, would have no, even less expectation of sexual desire would make them a greater, more desirable object for your sexual appetite. Because again, the sexual appetite is that which is masculinizing. And I know this is like really brutal. I know this is really dark.
And strange. And strange. Like
it is, yeah.
Like I'm not going to be specific, but there are certain things that are obviously immoral, but you can at least understand the appeal of. Here, like, I don't get the appeal, right? I don't get the appeal at all. And I think a lot of people in the audience are having a similar reaction, and that's why you said from the start, right? You have to have a completely different mindset to understand this.
So if you pop up in your Bible, you start reading, what are men and women? They're corresponding to, the woman is the corresponding counterpart, and what's used there for that corresponding is an idea of being face to face with someone, with being across from someone in a way that there is a correspondence, a counterpartness, that you are for one another, and that together they are made one flesh, that this is those which are corresponding coming together to create the new unit of society, which is the nuclear family. And yes, you have other connections. You continue to have connections to your children when they move away and start nuclear families of their own. They're still your children. But the new, you have duplicated the social, the basic social unit, which is this male-female pair together who are united in companionship and love for one another. This is not, and this entire idea is so foreign to the Islamic viewpoint, because what is Islamic society? It's a caliphate. And under that are the men who have the waliya, who are the authorities, the male authorities, and it's all about your relationship to a various man within this over hierarchy toward the caliphate or toward Muhammad. It is literally a patriarchal society in which everything fits together into this machine, and women are hammers, women are tools, children are tools, children are hammers. Until you have a gear in this system where you matter as a man, you only matter in as much that your son has affections toward you. And typically, your son has a lot more affection towards you than your husband does. The idea that, again, and Islam and the Islamic stuff, there's stuff about caring for your mother, all this mother stuff.
Mothers are very highly valued.
There's no wife stuff. No wife stuff.
Wives are not.
No, wives
even though
are
it's
not.
the same person.
Yep.
Because it's about who values, right? It's about who
Right.
values. So mothers are highly valued. Wives are not.
Correct.
Because you don't view your spouse as a partner or equal or even object of love. You view them as a tool for fulfilling your sexual desire and for giving you children. That it's a tool with two purposes, but is a tool nonetheless.
But
whereas your
children,
mother you view with affection, right?
Well, your
And that's the
mother, a mother also has her children or her tools for security, her tools for relevance, her tools for having some. She needs sons to have some male who will possibly defend her interests, because her husband certainly won't.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, and the relationships that Arab mothers have with their children are massively fraught, and the destructiveness of the Arab mother-in-law is famous because why? Because the only way you get relevance is through the control of your son. This is very common in Eastern societies where mothers don't want to let go of their sons because it's the only man to whom they have relevance and have control, so that they're against their sons caring about their wives. They need to be the number one woman in their son's mind forever because no one else will care about them. No one else cares.
So Snap Mimi said, what is this stream even about? Well, Mary switched the slide back there to the start. It is about how Muhammad was abused as a child and how that there is a culture around this that he grew up in, and how there's a cycle that the abused most often becomes the abuser when they grow up. And this isn't here to make fun of Muhammad, but unfortunately Muhammad is supposed to be the pattern of conduct, and since he does follow that pattern of becoming the abuser as an adult, his abuse as a child is highly relevant because it becomes the pattern for Muslims to follow. And you see it codified in all kinds of ways that Mary's been talking about throughout the stream. This is 100% a very real, serious topic. This is 100% not a troll joke. It is, in fact, exactly what it says it is. And it is a very serious thing with real consequences, not just trying to make fun of Muhammad. There are many things that I could say to make fun of Muhammad. This would not be one of them, but it is a very serious issue because of the consequences.
Yeah. And someone said, that this is a mother-child society, and it really is, because if a man can have 4 wives, he's not really your father in terms of raising you. He is the patrilineal line to which you belong. And the amount of control and the need for control that a mother has over her sons, it's extreme. I mean, that's why you get in the reign of the harem reign in both China and in Ottoman history. You had cases where essentially women were the power behind the throne, and it was the mother of the king. Why? Because that was the person with whom he had a relationship, because of the fractured nature of the relationships with the man having children with so many women. He is not a father to any of them. And so the only way for a woman to get power and have relevance and have anyone care for her is control of her son. What is she going to do? She's going to make him as dependent upon her as possible, which makes him unable to be a real man. So these mother-child cultures are those of infantilizing men in a very real way, that you need them to be dependent. You need them to still need you, because if a man can take care of himself and has no need for his mother, then what care will he have for his mother is the mindset. So trying to raise incompetent men is a goal of these societies. You need men who are competent in certain domains, but incompetent in other ones, so that you have value to them and maintain that value in their society. So,
couple comments before we get back to it. McCain said, philosophically speaking, this is what you'd expect from a unipersonal God that depends on creation in order to love. This evil, twisted version of so-called love, that is obviously not true. You could also put it a different way. This is what you get when you create a God in your image rather than the other way around. It does reflect on Allah, right?
Yep.
we're focusing on the real world consequences, on how this affects society and people, but it does also, you're 100% correct, reflect on Allah and show that Allah is not a true God. I agree with that. And then this comment from Quran Only fans: if you bring this argument up with any Muslim or Dawagandist, they're going to just say it's culture, not Islam.
Well, it depends on what it is. They'll just be like, well, that's the way it should be for a lot of it. Like, you guys are in your weird, they'll claim that it's secularism that values women as more than hammers. Like, that's what they'll say. Don't you love your mom? Kind of thing. They will either, the stuff that they want to deny, they'll go, oh, that's just, it either doesn't exist or it's culture. And the stuff that they want to admit to, they'll say that it's, that's, that's
so
the way it should be.
What they view as positives, whether they actually are or not, we can just debate, but what they view as positives, those are 100% from Islam. Anything they view as negative, that's culture. That has nothing to do with Islam. Very interesting. And what is the title of the book she recommended to read, please? Islamic Homosexualities?
By Stephen O'Murray and Will Roscoe. And it's a rough read, guys. I'm selecting things that are less rough and editing.
It is very explicit at parts, let's put it that way. It's not pornographic, because what determines whether something is pornographic?
Some of it is.
Hold on. Determines is the context is being presented, but it does show images that are pornographic. So, like, the book itself is academic, but
it's academic, but
it contains pornographic images.
Some of the sections are also pornographic. I did not read those at all in any of the live streams. You haven't read the whole thing, have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So I just, as a warning, some of the modern stuff is frankly pornographic. So yeah, someone's asking that, to get, so a wife status, otherwise, you have influence, safety, and being loved, can't be reached until your son is grown up and maybe your husband passes away. Yes, but it's actually even worse than that, because you never reach a wife status. You reach, you keep your son infantilized. You keep your son where he feels like he needs you, that he feels like you're the only one who can provide the things he needs as his mommy. And you keep him from growing up. You keep him from leaving and cleaving. You keep him from doing these things. And so it's a mutually damaging relationship. And yes, this is why Eastern mothers spoil their sons so hard, is because they're training their sons to believe that they need their mommy in a way that they will never need anyone else. And keep in mind, there is nothing in Islam about loving your wife. Nothing. About your mother, yes. There's nothing in Islam. If she gets old, if she gets fat, if she doesn't have enough kids for you, if you don't like the way she cooks, get rid of her. There are other women. There is nothing about a dedication to a wife in Islam.
What about in old age? Well, you're no longer all that interested in sex in general. You certainly can't have any more kids. What about at that point? Then,
if she's taking,
is there
care
a possibility? Yeah, as a caretaker, right?
As a caretaker, yeah. But that's it. That she's taking care of you. Otherwise, you could kick her to the curb at any time. Is she serving the function of being your grateful slave? Is the money that you are paying for her worth it? Can you get a more sprightly and younger person to care for you? That would be better if you could. So you might as well. Of course, they find out that, in real life, your new wife that you but to take care of you might actually just have enormous contempt for you because she doesn't love you. And the Islamic men are massively offended by the fact that when they mistreat their wives don't love them and will be deliberately cruel to them because they have been cruel to them. They're like, what is this? Now she won't. I got sick and she told me to go over to my second wife's house. My second wife said, I didn't marry you for this. Go over to your first wife's house and none of them will take care of me. Yeah, they won't. Why? Because you don't love them. Why should they care for you? Why should they care for you? And Dankworth asks, is this why Mojob's website lists his mother as his masculinity teacher? Probably. Most likely.
Because you don't learn anything from your father, right? He's not involved with raising you in any material way.
Only in preparing you for your role in whatever career he has, basically. So his is like...
So only like when you're not when you're a little kid. So when you're a little kid, no involvement. When you get older, like maybe like preteen or certainly teen, then he might start teaching you some life skills, but not involved with raising you as a little kid, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So
interesting. I also don't know. Not really quite sure it means to be taught masculinity, but maybe I don't want to know either.
Yeah. Protestant believer says, Ibn Kathir says that we get roasted on an anus chain in hell. Every link has more iron than all the iron in the world. Has to be from God. But again, this shows Muhammad's, like, he has this. Yeah. You don't know about the anus chain?
No. What is this?
Yeah. You get sexually violated in hellfire as part of your punishment, according to Muhammad, because again, he's drawing from life experience. What would be the most humiliating thing? Sexual violation. So,
well, I mean, I do agree. In fairness, I do agree that would be something that would be torturous. I'm not saying that is what happens in hell necessarily, but I'm saying that would actually be torture. So that makes sense as a potential form of torture. But
he's quite hung up on that. He's quite hung up on the sexual torments in hell. And my question is,
so I'm looking at the verse. The verse doesn't say anything about sexual.
No. Ibn Kathir is explaining that Muhammad has lots and lots of different hadith about the kind of tortures that you get in hellfire. Women get hung up by their hair and whipped, and men get sexually violated very often. These are hadith. So it's not in the Quran.
So he's taking that interpretation and putting it into the verse. Now the verse itself is very strange. Okay, so let me just read the whole sentence. Allah will say, which is implied, seize him and shackle him, then into hellfire drive him, then into a chain whose length is 70 cubits, insert him. I don't know why you're being inserted into a chain. I mean, I guess it could be a bunch of people chained together.
No. You are not inserted in the chain.
I'm saying in principle.
Inserted. Yeah.
I'm saying in principle. Well, that's not what. I guess that's ambiguous in English.
Yeah.
That is
a description of the chain.
Insert him. It sounds like, to me, the more natural English reading is inserting the person into the chain. No, but it is ambiguous in English. It could go either way, which tells me probably it's intended the other way, and they just don't want you to know that.
So the grammar in the Arabic is the chain is modified by inserted. So
that's what I'm saying, right? Yeah. I wasn't directly saying that, but I was saying the fact they worded it that way in English makes me think it probably is really supposed to be the other way, but they don't want you to realize that.
Well, I mean, a lot of times the way verbs, or excuse me, adjectives are described or put into the English is after the verb, even in the English and a lot of the translations. So it's fairly consistent. But yeah, I mean, Muhammad,
you're just saying that's just oddity of translation, not that they're trying to hide something in this case.
Yeah, I think it's just oddity of translation. But yeah, he again, the fact that he thinks that this is going to, like, and again, it's a law directing this. A law is directing is causing you to be raped forever. Like, guys, what the heck? That Allah is essentially an eternal rapist. Like, that's how he thinks that it's appropriate to punish people, is by sexually violating them. Some wild stuff. Or ordering his angels to do this. Wild stuff.
Indeed. So I didn't actually realize, but you were done with the presentation?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. Let me take a couple of super chats. We also have a couple of like good points or questions from throughout. So Songs of Relief with the super chat here.
Wasting your time on social media is one of the best deeds a Muslim can do. There's a huge need for it. You know this and I know this. So that makes the reward even greater. So give generously and Allah Azza wa Jal will give you even more.
I miss sending animal apologist super chats. YouTube has decided that I'm not allowed to use synonyms for monkey, farfor, desert, laugh cats, suggestions. That is so strange. Like Songs of Relief then just said the correct words in a non-super chat message. We were talking about it. I don't know why in the world it's decided to block those terms. Like there's nothing offensive about the term rat. Like, I don't know, maybe it's a spam thing that it thinks you're spam. But I know then why would it do it only on super chats, which would be the least likely to be spam? Very, very strange. I mean, I can add synonyms for them so that you can trigger, say, monkey in more than one way. And he said that would be good, but then it'll probably just block those terms. I really don't understand why that's happening. It's a very strange thing. My apologies about that. I'll probably try to add one synonym for each at least and see what happens then. Yeah. And Protestant believer used the highlight to say Aisha's goat is eating the Quran. Yes, that was from some scientific experiments to see whether sheep or goats would eat the Quran. It was very difficult to get sheep to eat it. Goats, they just go right for it. So most likely it was a goat, even though there's some ambiguity in the text whether it was a goat or a sheep. Most likely it was a goat that ate the pages of the Quran. Quran Only Fans wants to know about the controversy. Stir up controversy. That's what Quran Only Fans is trying to do. Any view of God Logic being so anti-cat when Mrs. God Logic is so pro-cat? No. Bari says, why are you making fun of my religion? I was unaware I was making fun of your religion. So there you go. What you doing to this poor kitty? Don't discuss all this in front of kitty. Look, he's feel dirty all over. Yes, that is true.
And well, I find it quite interesting what the Muslim response to that is. Why are you making fun of my religion? Not why do we teach any of this foul stuff? It's about, this is a very Islamic response. Why are you bringing up in an embarrassing way the fact that we do this? Why are you humiliating me with this? Not why are we wicked? Why is this wickedness here? Not even a defense of the wickedness. Just you are wrong. If I had the chance, I would kill you because you are embarrassing us. And that is the reaction to having embarrassing things brought out. This is shame culture. This is nothing you do is wicked, or at least as wicked as letting everyone know about your wickedness. So why are you wicked? Why are you wicked? Because you have given yourselves over to Satan. That's why you are wicked. You should stop doing that. You should leave your disgusting, foul, revolting religion. And then you wouldn't be in anything that is to be made fun of. Then you wouldn't gang rape animals.
I don't know if this is a serious comment. If this is a serious comment, then I'm quite disturbed by your profile picture. Why are you lusting after men, Bari? Yeah, what is with this topless man profile picture? I mean, if you're actually a Muslim, and this isn't just a joke, why are you trying to prove us right with your profile picture? All right, anyway. Stroke and Poke. Interesting username there. Thank you for the super chat.
Here's the sadness. We are running out of funds. All our work is going to stop unless people like you watching this video will help us. Your donations can get you a share in a reward. Reap those rewards for years to come, inshallah. This is not a donation or a charity, but an investment for your hereafter.
That was creative use of getting around what I assume was censored here. Muslim men do analysis sec with one another. I assume anal sex was blocked. If so, good job getting around that.
Yes.
You can't stop great
Simple.
origin Islam. Bari, are you joking? Are you trolling? Because you don't seem very serious. See, you seem like someone who's pretending to be a Muslim to make them look stupid. So do let me know if you're serious or if you're just trolling. Because right now, I think you're just trolling, honestly. If you're being serious, then I'm a little disturbed.
Oh, no, he's totally serious. He's one of the people who threatens Lubna. So, yep, here we go, everyone. Face of Islam. Depraved, debauched, revolting, and what he wants to do is to kill people who expose this.
You made my point for me, Bari. The profile picture, it's not a picture of me, guys. It's a different male that I'm totally not lusting after. I just made him my profile picture. Dude, normal men don't want pictures of men that are half naked as their profile pictures. Just saying. I'm Muslim, but I'm proud to be Muslim. All right, fine. You're proud to be Muslim. You're making Islam look terrible.
Well, again, you are proud to be Muslim until people talk about what Islam teaches, until people talk about how perverted you are, until people talk about how shameful your religion is. So, Bari, here's my question for you. Are you looking forward to Jannah where you are anticipating having sex with little children for eternity? Are you proud that you are looking forward to intercourse with children for eternity? You need to answer that, because here's the thing. You're proud of it until somebody points it out in a way that shows that they are disgusted by you and revolted by you. So,
all right. So he says Lubna is bad to my religion. So he's acknowledged it. So leave Lubna alone, you disgusting freak. You want a target? You want a target? I'll give you a target. This is for you attacking Lubna, all right? This is your beautiful, precious Quran.
And here's the stupid thing. Lubna is ridiculous, not because she says bad things about her religion, but because she says you don't have to be wicked. You want to rape children. You are a child rapist. That is what you are. You are angry at people who point out that you and your religion is a religion of child rape. That's what you are embarrassed by. That's what you want to kill people for, pointing out how depraved and disgusting you are, because you want to be depraved and disgusting, and you're proud of how depraved and disgusting you are. You just get embarrassed and angry when people are disgusted by how revolting you are. The idea that you should stop being revolting never occurs to you. Why? Because you are a Muslim. And in Islam, this depravity is built in. The acceptance and pride in depravity, until it is pointed out and shamed and mocked and reviled because it is disgusting. Your religion is disgusting. Your prophet is disgusting. Your God is a disgusting pimp of children. Your God is a pederast. And
Hey,
you
Barry.
are proud of it until someone goes, you are revolting.
Hey, Barry, you like a samurai chief on your Quran?
Bahari, are you a rat? Bahari says that he is a disgusting rat who rapes people, who would attack any woman who is out, and Muslim men are rats. In our religion, women cover up. Think about it, for example, if you leave meat out in the open, it will cause a rat infestation. So Muslim men are revolting, disgusting little rats.
Uh-huh.
It's not the fault of rats for doing this. Muslim men are rats. Muslim men
you
are
leave
disgusting,
meat out in the
perverted little
open.
rats.
You leave meat out in the open, it's going to cause a rat infestation. What kind of men
You
come and
are
attack
rats,
these women? Not
according
me.
to you.
I don't do it. Christian men
What?
don't do it. Buddhist men
baffles me
probably don't
why
do it.
anyone
Hindu men
allows
usually
these
don't do
people
it.
in
Just Muslim
civilization.
men. Muslim men are freaking rats, according to you.
You should be
not me. You called
bombed
Muslim
into
men
the
rats.
Stone Age. Bombed into the Stone Age. Bombed into non-existence. This mentality should be eradicated from the face of the earth because it is so revolting and offensive to anyone with a scrap of morality, which Islam does not have. According to you, Muslim men are rats. Yes, you view human women as objects, as meat. This is my point, everyone. This is what I have been saying. This is what Islam does. Would Islam care? Would a Muslim man care about what he does to a woman? Why would he care about what he does to a hammer? Why would he care about what he does to a piece of meat? He is a rat. He is a roach. Why would he care? So, thank you,
Barry,
for demonstrating
thank you for coming
what
in
I
here.
have been saying all along.
Yeah, thank you for coming in here with your gay profile picture and talking about how you're a rat.
So, and now he's like, why is it that Western women don't take accountability for being raped?
Hey, you freaking idiot. If I punch you in the face, if I come and punch you in the face, is that your fault or is it me? My fault. Did you do something wrong by being punched or did I do something wrong? Why don't you take accountability for your actions, you disgusting rat? And I'm calling you a rat because that's what you said you are.
He is
You
a rat.
are not
He
a
is
human
roach.
being. You are a
He
rat
is an
according to you.
Infestation. He is an infestation in this world. Do you know what we do with rats in the West? We kill them. We poison them. We send dogs out to slaughter them. That's what we do with rats, and that's what we should do with men who treat women like meat. Do you know what? And again, keep in mind, to him, anyone who is available, it's their fault they got raped. If he had sex with a little boy, well, that boy was available. The horse that he raped was available. The girl that he raped was available. He is a rapist. It's common sense. You leave your car door open and someone steals your car. It's not your fault. If a woman walks in the street and he rapes the woman, it's her fault. Do you know what we do to people who steal cars? We put them in prison for a felony.
Yeah, first of all, while you might have some blame, the person who stole your car still has a lot of blame for stealing your car, right? If I leave my car, I don't know why I'm leaving your car door open, but if I leave my keys in my car, right, and that's not a smart thing for me to do, but it is still the person who stole its fault for stealing the car. But notice what else you did. You just said that women are property, that they're equivalent to cars.
So they're meat, they're cars, they're hammers. Like I said, why would you? He wouldn't care if his sister got gang raped. He would blame his sister. If his mother got gang raped, he would blame his mother.
Yep.
Again, these are objects to them. They have, why? And we have people who say we should let more of these people in. Not we should eradicate them. We should destroy them from the face of the earth. No, we should let more of these people in. They're just confused. They don't know about their religion. As I have been teaching throughout this thing, this is Islam. This is what they said from the beginning to the end. What happens? We get one Muslim in here and he proves every single thing that has been said.
I know. Thank you. I thought he was a troll. I thought he was trying to make Muslims look bad. But he's legit, apparently.
He's legit.
He's a legitimate, gay-loving Muslim who views women as tools to be used and abused. And if you don't cover your woman up, then she deserves to be stolen, i.e. raped by another man.
So I'm glad that you have allowed us to know that you have no more self-control than a rat. You have no more self-control than a fly. You have no more self-control than anything else. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Why should you be expected to not be a criminal? Again.
Well, let's just summarize here, okay? This is what Bari, not me, YouTube, don't come after me, all right? This is what he has described himself as. He described himself as a rat infestation. He described himself as a car thief.
Yep.
These are the analogies he uses to describe himself because he has so little self-control that he thinks these analogies make him look good by comparison. Of course, the rats are going to eat the meat if you leave it out. Of course, the car thief is going to steal the car if you leave it out. Of course, I'm going to rape and your women and take all your stuff and do whatever else I want to you if you don't protect yourself. That's what I am. I'm a rat, guys. I'm a thief. I'm a horrible person. I'm subhuman. Respect me. Respect Islam. Wow.
Again, he's like, why are you saying bad things about my religion? Because it's wicked, because it's evil, because you're like, oh, if you had honey in your attic and bees went in there,
it's just another dumb analogy.
You know what I would do? I would call an exterminator and kill them all. And then I would lock up my attic so that no more bees could get close. So, do we need to call an exterminator?
My wife. My wife is not honey. She's not something to consume. You piece of shit.
Yeah, pretty much. So again, what should we do with you? According to your logic, we should exterminate you and make sure you don't get in.
Yeah.
I have meat in my house that's fine. I've never had a rat eat my meat ever. Because you know what I do? If I get mice or rats in my house, I exterminate them. So what you're saying is that what we need to do to avoid you from raping women is to exterminate you. Is that what we should do? Should we exterminate you?
He told me he's a rat infestation. He didn't even say a rat. He said a rat infestation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my cats and I'm gonna sick them on you because you're a rat. And if that doesn't work, I'm calling the pest control and I'm killing you with poison, right? You're either getting killed by my cats or you're getting killed by poison because you're a rat infestation and I don't want a rat infestation.
And again, what should
don't
we
use
do
bad language. Learn to be respectful. Hey, you are a piece of shit. You disgusting, vile, dung heap, subhuman crap. You deserve those words.
And you know what? I'm sure he molested his sisters too. His sisters
I'm not going to be respectful of you. You said you're a rat. I'm not respectful of rats. You said you're a car thief. I'm not respectful of car thieves. You don't deserve any respect.
Nope.
You subhuman garbage. The only thing you deserve is to be treated like you describe yourself and be poisoned.
Yep.
As a rat. Now, I wouldn't actually do that. Just to be clear, I would not kill you, right? Because I, unlike you, understand that you are a human being created in the image of God of inherent value. But your Islam prevents you from even seeing that in yourself. You see yourself as a rat. You do. What is wrong with you?
Well, I'm perfectly fine. And I strongly support the death penalty for forcible rapists. I strongly support that. So, I vehement support for that. Just to be clear. So
right,
no, Bahari, I am not from Islam. Hang on, wait 1 second.
We've given him enough attention.
My final comment. I am not a Muslim. I did not grow up in Islamic society. So my chances of being molested are much lower than any Muslim woman. I have never been molested by anyone. Unlike your sisters who were molested by their father, because that's the only reason why you would write what you have written. You plan to molest your children. If you have any daughters, you will molest them, according to what you have just written about me. That you imagine that you think that the only reason that a woman would care about other women getting raped is if she's a victim. Why? Because you are so deeply evil, and everyone you know in your society is so deeply evil that they cannot have compassion for anyone else, that they can't care about anyone else. Now, people were scared of me from the time I was very small, and I got treated poorly by people who were scared of me, but not like that because they were scared of me. I can have compassion for people and also have no compassion whatsoever for certain other people and wish that the full weight of the law came down upon them. And if law is not available, a Patriot missile. If you need to be eradicated from society, I am perfectly capable of pushing the button and would be happy to do so. If the only way to remove you from society would be for me to push the button, trust me when I tell you I would not hesitate, because you need to be removed because you are an infestation. You are an infestation of rats. You have been infested with Islam. And I would actually be generous. I would give you gibbeting because that would give you longer to repent and be an example for everyone else. So that would be my solution. Town square, stripped naked, gibbeting. Look it up, everyone. It's quite a way to go. And it is quite...
I don't know what that is, but I have a feeling I don't want to know either. Anyway, let me summarize here. All right. Let me bring this back to the truth, right? There was most of you are like, get him. A couple of people are like, calm down. You don't want to lower yourself to his level. And that's fair. Let me bring this all back together, right? Well, why did I go off on this idiot? Because he bragged about threatening Lubna. That is why I originally went off on him. And then his excuse was, I'm just a dirty rat. What do you expect of me? Or a rat infestation, whatever. And then he said, I'm a car thief. Okay. Then I guess he tried to make it a little bit better and said he was a bee. He was after honey, which, first of all, I don't actually think that bees will go after random honey, but that's neither here nor there. He is demonstrating what his religion does. And he's being used as an example of how evil and horrific his religion is, and what Islam, properly understood, does to a person.
Yep. And again,
and thus he deserves everything he received. He by justice, he deserves exactly what Mary said, right? He deserves to be put to death. He deserves to be tortured, whatever. That said, let me draw this into the gospel, because in the gospel, let's be honest, we're all criminals, right? We're not all like him. We're not all people who want to abuse women, but we are all criminals. And it's easy to justify ourselves and say, you know, I'm not as bad as that other guy, but we all fall well short of God's standard. And only in the gospel, right? Only under Christ is there a solution to that problem. And that solution is available to me, thankfully. It's available to Mary, thankfully, but it's also available to Bari, also thankfully, that he has the opportunity, right? He is still living. He has the opportunity to turn from his evil ways and stop following a religion that makes him into, in his own words, a rat infestation.
Yep.
And so that's my invitation to him, is to stop saying, oh, I can't help it. I can't help but be a horrible, disgusting creature. And say, I am sorry, right? I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry. I seek your forgiveness. And turn,
and
sanctification. I turn to you. I put my trust in you alone. I want you to come into my life and change me. Use me. I don't want to be this way anymore. I want you to change me. I want to not be this way. I don't want to make excuses for why I'm this way. I don't want to be this way. I want to be something different. And so that's my message to Bari and any other Muslim who sees this. You are everything, right? You hold on, Mary. Let me finish. You are 100%. I'll just say crap this time. Yeah, you are poop. You are deserving of being treated that way, but we all are, right? We all are worthy of that. We're all worthy of death and destruction. We're all worthy of being eternally separated from God in what we call hell. However, God gives an alternative, right? He has mercy. Muslims like to brag about the mercy of Allah, but they think that that means that he doesn't care about their sins, that their sins don't matter, that they can just do whatever they want and they can be vile rats, and Allah has allowed them to be vile rats that infest the world. No, the true God has justice, right? He needs justice. And so what he does is he pays the penalty for us. He comes and he takes the responsibility for our acts and says, if you want to be different, right? If you want to be changed, if you want to inherit my spirit, if you want to inherit my life and live with me eternally, you can have that. But you have to want it. You have to want to be different. You can't want to be a rat and be like, oh, Allah allows me to be a rat. He's so merciful. No, I don't want to be a rat, and you shouldn't want to be a rat either. That's my call to you, is to repent, to turn from your ways, put your faith in God alone, what he has already done, and accept his free gift. That is my invitation to you. All right, Mary.
So until you realize your wickedness, there's no salvation for you. You think that what is wicked is the knowledge of sin. That's what you want to shut down. You want to shut down the knowledge of sin. You want to shut down the shame that you feel when everyone's making fun of you and is saying how disgusting and revolting Muslims are. You want to silence that, and you want to quiet the conscience that you have been given. That conscience is given for repentance. And if you ignore it, hellfire is your future. Allah does not indulge your sins. Allah does not love you and enable you to be a rat infestation, as you believe. You think that what love is indulgence of your depravity. That your depravity will be covered up and will no longer be called sin. And that you will get filth and depravity and disgustingness. And that it will be glorified filth. It's not, it's filth. And I would give you full opportunity to repent in a gibbet, which should take you, you would have about a week to for your repentance, and hopefully you would come to a saving knowledge of God. But if you have ever acted on the things that you have said, then human justice should also befall you, and that would be appropriate human justice. Now, if you have only done these things in your mind, then you are still guilty to God of all the things that you would do and all the things that you are. And what is required of you is repentance and perfection. You think that Elubna is evil because you think that showing your sin is evil. Your evil is its evil. Just to be clear, you are evil. You are wicked. You are vile. You are depraved. You are disgusting. You are worse than the poo that I scrape out of my toilet. That is what you are to the depth of your being. You have no repentance. What you call evil is shining light on your filth. You don't want people to see your filth. To you, seeing your filth is evil. No, you are evil. You are filth. You are disgusting. You are depraved. And until you accept your filth, your depravity, your disgustingness, you can't be saved. There is no salvation for you. You cannot be saved. Why? Because you deny your guilt. You claim that those who see your guilt and who point out your guilt and who point out your filth, that they are guilty. No, you have all the guilt. Every shred of it. It is on you, and it will forever be on you until you recognize it. So you should thank Lubna for bringing attention to the fact that you are revolting, filthy, disgusting, and worthy of just to be fully reviled, and that you are that which people find revolting. Anyone with a shred of conscience finds you revolting. You should thank her on your knees for bringing attention to your sin. But instead, you react like someone who got caught stealing, and you're blaming the person who caught you. You will not bring any blame to Christ when he judges you and sends you to hell forever. That is where you're going. And because you are so depraved, and because your heart is so hardened, and because your conscience is so seared, and you have done this to yourself, there is very little chance that you will have any chance of salvation. And again, while we all fall under condemnation, we all do not get the same punishment. There are degrees of punishment in hell. Great variance of degrees of punishment in hell. And that for you will be far, far worse than for many people. So you will not only go to hell, but you had the opportunity to repent. You've had people call attention to your sin. And because you have instead condemned the people who point out that you're filthy and disgusting, rather than going, man, I'm a horrible person. I behave like a rat. Your condemnation will be much worse. Your torment will be much worse. You will be cast into outer darkness forever. So you have a choice.
Yep.
You have a choice.
So everyone, I need you to do me a favor. Well, do Bari a favor. I was going to tell you to, but he wants you to know. He wants you to know. So I'm not even doing anything he doesn't want you to know. I want everyone to go to his channel, which I'm going to put in the description right now. And I want you to report this to YouTube, because this is a clear, unambiguous violation of YouTube policy, and I want his account to be deleted. He's had this account since 2022, apparently. This account needs to be deleted from YouTube. This is what he wrote on his channel. At Lubna, delete your channel now. We don't ever want to see your face again, you cutty. Delete your channel and leave all social media, or we will find you and make shish kebabs out of you and your kids. Not only is this a violation of YouTube policy, this is illegal. This could end him in jail. It probably won't, right? Threats usually are not prosecuted, but they are technically against the law. So he could go to jail for this. I want everyone to go to his channel. Again, I put the link in the description, in the chat. I'm putting it in there again. Go to his channel, report this violation to YouTube, that he is making death threats against people on his channel, go and report this guy. He needs to be taken care of. He is proud of this. He's proud of it. He wants you to all see it. Everyone go look at his posts. Go look at his posts and report it. And I don't know if you can see the little pop-up, but you can, if you can see it, you can see I'm doing it right now.
And keep in mind, what is evil in his mind? Evil is to point out that he and his brothers are vile rapists. It is evil to point out that he's vile. That's what's evil. To bring awareness to his vileness is evil in his mind, because he has the right to use anyone as he sees fit. They're objects, they're things, they're that which they can use. Why? Because he is depraved. Because this is a pagan society of the utmost vile paganness that pretends to be something else. So again, and thank you for coming here and proving everything that I have said all along. Yeah, you live in Pakistan where your daughters, if you ever have them, will be raped by men if they can get the chance to do so. Why? Because you're vile. Because your religion is vile. Because your prophet is vile. Because your fake God is vile. You're all vile. You're revolting.
So, everyone, you can report the post, but then you can also go up here, click on the more and hit report user, and you can report the user as well. So go ahead and report him that way as well. All right. Let's see.
But it's really funny because that's such a gay picture. So you have this guy who's like everything. So.
Yep. So I went through that. I had to switch to our screen because it was off the bottom of the screen where the next button was, but I switched it, hit next, and then it asked for more information. I said making death threats in YouTube comments. So we'll see what happens, but this channel should be taken down. We'll see if YouTube actually does it. I can't guarantee anything. John says, please drop the link again. Yes, I will put the link in the chat again.
And you know, I've got a question. How many boys have you had sex with, Bari? How many men have had sex with you? How many animals have you had sex with if you're outside the city? Have you ever gotten a chance to rape a woman? Because you said that you would if you could. If you had the opportunity to rape a woman, you would rape her, you have said.
Oh, yeah. He said he would.
Yeah. And yes, pride is a sin. You are proud because you are sinful. But you are also ashamed of anyone who points out that you are actually filth. So you're super proud until somebody points out, hey, look, he's filthy and depraved and disgusting. And then you're like, I need to kill you! Ah, so proud! So, yeah.
Yeah, Lubna moved, right? Because of people showing up at her door or throwing rocks at her house, one or the other. I forget which one it was. And apparently someone has showed up at her new address.
And honestly, Lubna is so deceived.
Yep.
She is so deceived. This is Islam. This is what it really teaches. This is the true Islam. So.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what?
Are powerless in Pakistan. Yeah, you're right. They are powerless in Pakistan, but I don't live in Pakistan, buddy. Just because you and your vile kind abuse Christians in Pakistan doesn't mean I'm powerless. I'm not your dhimmi. I ain't your dhimmi, buddy.
And honestly, I'd let India do whatever it liked with Pakistan. Islam is an enemy. It is the most obvious satanic religion. It is the most obvious religion of Satan.
So we did have a real question here. Who is Lubna? So she is a British woman who is from a Muslim background, technically identifies as Muslim, although we wouldn't consider her as such, who talks about what she deems the cultural problems in the Pakistani, especially, but in the Muslim communities in general in the United Kingdom. And because she was pointing out these things and saying we can be better, right? She wasn't even saying like this makes Islam false or whatever, right? She was at least nominally saying to be a Muslim, we can do better than this. We shouldn't put up with this crap. She has received multiple threats, including from our buddy Bari here, but he's far from the first. She's received real threats, not just, you know, people saying stuff in YouTube comments. People showed up at her house and to try to intimidate her. And when she went to the police, they basically said, we can't do anything about it because we don't know who was there, which is, yeah. So she moved, and then she deleted every video off her YouTube channel. She deleted every video, even though that she was depending on YouTube for income because she was a single mother and she didn't have any other source of income. She was depending on it. She still deleted all her videos. In other words, deleted all her revenue. And then eventually, after, you know, a little while, after she was moved, she put up some new stuff, and apparently she's getting threats again.
Yep.
So that's
and
who
here's
she
the
is.
thing. And here's the thing. She's getting threats because she's saying that Muslims don't have to be rapists and shouldn't be. And this guy's like, no, we are rapists. Shut up, Lubna. Shut up. We are rapists. We kill people. That's who we are. This is what we are. This is what Islam is. So Islam is not powerful. Islam is incredibly weak. And unfortunately, you have very foolish people in the West who think that just being weak and backward should be a reason to show compassion that is suicidal empathy. Instead of realizing that the reason that they are weak backward is also why they are wicked. So until you are wicked, until you stop being wicked, then you have no place in civil society. And you will be wicked until you leave Islam. And you will be backward and you will be depraved. I mean, Islam took over the places in the world that were the richest and had been the richest from the Neolithic era. And they managed to turn them into backwards, primitive, ignorant, depraved hellholes in a remarkably fast time with the decline in the population of people who are not Muslim. So,
your God sucks at planning, buddy. So far, all your God's little plans have just made me more popular, have given me more opportunity to speak against Islam. He doesn't seem to be he seems to be far inferior to the U.S. government, for example, at planning. They seem to thwart his plans every single time he tries to make any. So
and
I don't know.
Keep in mind that Allah is the best deceiver. I'm glad that you admit that you worship Satan. Satan is the deceiver. Allah is the great deceiver. You worship Satan. So thank you for letting everyone know and emphasizing to everyone that you are a Satan worshiper. You worship Satan. You worship the religion of Satan. And then you're going to go to hell when you die because you are a worshiper of Satan. Mm-hmm. Thank you for letting everyone know this. All right. I think that.
All right. I got some older super chats that I need to take. But we're not responding to Bari anymore. I guess he's not currently timed out. But if he says anything else that is vile or whatever, just ignore him. Never mind, he just did, so I got it. He is done for the day. He is gone. We're not giving him any more attention. Hopefully YouTube will block his account. All right, Stroke and Poke with a super chat.
The Prophet engaged in activities in Alzu.
Hey, it said it right. Thank you very
nice.
much for that.
It's so funny. Even their prophet was like sexually molested. Like
Yep.
that is part of your belief. Your belief, like the authentic belief of Muslims, is that he's so strong. He like was able to bear a horrible gang rape by these demonic figures. So my profile picture is of a Christian woman in the Ottoman Empire, I believe. It's just a random picture. Isn't anyone particularly important. I just needed a picture and pulled one off.
On topic question from earlier from Generative Principle. If you have to dress them up like ladies, so referring to the Bakabazi boys, why not have sex with the opposite sex?
Because it's more dangerous. Because someone's more likely to kill you for having sex with a woman than having sex with a boy. Because slave girls are less available. Because there are repercussions if a girl turns out pregnant and boys don't get pregnant. So yeah, they're just the rampant victimization of boys is allowed. I mean, they will rape a girl to death, but they tend not to misuse boys as much when they get the chance, because if you're getting a girl, well, then you don't want her anything coming out, because there's more likely to be punishment. There's a lot less punishment. There's no punishment most of the time when you're having sex with boys. Like, it's just completely allowed. Whereas because of the potential of pregnancy and everything else, there's more potential downsides to that.
Yeah, so a combination of danger and opportunity is going to be your reason. And by the time you're an adult, you may have actually developed a preference for boys. Most move on after adolescence and prefer the opposite sex as adults, but some develop a preference for boys. So there is that. Do you think Islam made sexual abuse, particularly against minors, worse in those Islamic countries?
Oh, absolutely. Any place where they were not, where Arabs were not before. I mean, it just took pagan Arab culture and put it everywhere. So the pagan Arabs, they were known as prostitutes. They were known as extraordinarily sexually untrustworthy. They were known, like, their reputation was absolutely horrific among pagans. And they just took their pagan Arab culture and spread it with them wherever they went. So they introduced this pagan culture wherever they went. And they infected any country that they conquered for any length of time, even where there was no tradition of any such thing. So yeah, they took one of the most depraved, disgusting, and backwards cultures to exist. Like, other cultures that are more depraved can't reach the level of Iron Age technology. So they probably took the singular most depraved Iron Age culture and spread it across the world. It's still paganism. It's just paganism with a veneer of monotheism.
Yeah, so I do want to point out that, of course, Islam is not unique in type, at least, right? It's a question of scale, that anything outside of Christianity tends to lead to these same kinds of behavior. They did exist before Islam, but Islam codifies them and makes them moral, whereas most human societies, while these things might have been prevalent, they might have been, kind of allowed. They were not glorified. They were not, they were viewed as, shameful activity often, even if it was, accepted. It wasn't ideal. Let's put it that way. So you get it in a variety of cultures, anything apart from Christianity, anything apart from God, right? You're going to get the same depraved human spirit. Islam just is worse because it codifies it and makes it divine, right? It makes it from God.
And
to do
and
these
there's
things.
also and someone else pointed out that the 4 witnesses are also a huge problem that makes getting justice basically impossible. So not only does it have all the pagan Arab tendencies, but it also has the fact that there's no justice for anyone who has ever been abused. There's no way to get justice. It's just not possible. And so like there's no, the way that they keep peace is by shutting up victims.
Yep.
So if something bad happens to you, we keep the veneer of civility by not allowing them justice ever.
Oh, well, that's exactly what Bari was saying, right? He wasn't denying any of these things. He was
saying, well, of course we're rapists. Shut up, shut up, shut up. You're evil for talking about it. Of course we're rapists. Quit being evil and talking about what rapists we are. That's what he was saying.
It's literally what he was saying. He was comparing himself to a rat infestation and saying, how can you blame us? Just stop talking about it. This is, of course, what we do. Yeah. And
again, like the only way you get justice is essentially you ambush people in the street and you stab them to death, and then the case is mysteriously never solved, and you only get that if you have someone who's willing to stab people for you.
Yeah.
Which a lot of times they're not.
So Wield Mojo says the word love seems to be something missing from Islam. Absolutely.
That's going to be my topic next week. I'm going to be talking about love in Islam and how it just means indulgence, and how Islam has no concept of love. I
agree with that 100%. The challenge has been put out, not from me. I think it was a Samadaktuk, but I'm not 100% certain, that to find one verse in the Quran that describes something loving, and if you do convert to Islam, it doesn't exist. There's nothing loving in the Quran. There's nothing loving in Allah by consequence.
Yeah, it's
and
just
therefore there's nothing loving in Islam.
The idea is favoritism and indulgence. That replaces what love is. That I'm giving you stuff because I like you. But that's not what is meant by actual love. Favoritism and indulgence and the opportunity for you to rape women and they can't have 4 witnesses, and that's a mercy to you. That's a mercy to you because now you get to rape all these women and there'll never be 4 witnesses. So that shows how Allah loves you. Love cannot be that which indulges sin and enables sin and empowers sin.
Apologetic Jaws, welcome to YouTube. Now, in fairness, in fairness to YouTube, the real reason that it censors heavily is because of ordinary bullying or making fun of people, and they don't want because the number one reason that people stop making stuff is because people make fun of it and say your videos are bad and stuff like that. So they try to protect people from having their feelings hurt, and as a result, a lot of stuff gets censored. Apparently you can say that I'm going to shish kebab you and your kids. Apparently that's not blocked, but they haven't figured that one out yet, I guess. It is actually really hard to get a death threat through, but Bari's an expert, I guess. He's tried a lot. And they won't tell you that your comment has been blocked because 2 reasons. One is that they don't want a spammer who's like, just ordinary commercial spam to realize that their comment got blocked, and they need to figure out how to get their comment through, because that's the other thing that gets blocked. And 2, they probably don't want you to find a way to get your threat or insult or whatever through as well. As a result, false positives happen. You just learn to deal with it, right? I don't think it's going away. Protestant believer triggered, happy birthday. stroke and put.
If you want your wealth to increase in this dunya, then give sadaqah more and more. Every single day, 2 angels come down. One of them is making dua for those who give. He says, Ya Allah, give those who give.
My bad there. I didn't realize it was a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. What percentage of dawah do you think gone through? What percentage of guys, I guess, do you think have gone through this too?
I think the vast majority of them are either predators or prey, one or the other.
Well, just statistically speaking, right? If most Muslim men are one or the other, right? They said 1 out of 9 are victims, but then that one victim has.
Oh well, that's hang
5.
on. That is 1 out of 9. That's victims to like madrasa and adults, not even victims.
Oh, that was. I thought it was just a survey of people. Oh, geez.
So that's adult victims.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, I was going to say, and one victim has 5 or 6 perpetrators. I mean, do the math. That means most people are either a perpetrator or a victim. Yeah, and then the dawah guys, right? The dawah guys, right, is a mixed bag. Some actually believe, in which case they know that Allah has provided this mercy that they're allowed to do these things. And so, of course, they're going to indulge if they are so inclined. And others are charlatans who don't believe Islam is true at all, but then they're probably atheists. So then they still have nothing forbidding them. And they grew up in a culture where this was normative. So I would say it's a good percent. A good percent are probably perpetrators. A lot of perpetrators were victims earlier in life. I'd say a decent percent are probably victims as well. Like some might be both, right? Some might be both. All right. We did have a request from Frog1Dog, a regular supporter of the channel, to play a video. That is a great grape. I don't know this video. I don't know if it's a joke or it's serious or whatever, but I'm trusting him to play this, that it won't be too I mean, it's on YouTube, so I'm not concerned about it like being like inappropriate in a sexual sense, but I don't know if it'd be inappropriate humor or illustrative or what, but we're gonna play it.
My plan is that I will be pilot and I'll help everyone. Pilot.
Yeah, he's the pilot. Great.
When I will grow up, I will be army and save Pakistan and destroy India.
Strong army. Wow, great.
I will open as much educational institution as possible, and I'm proud to be a Pakistani.
The next generation of Pakistan is going to make Pakistan literacy 100%.
My plan is to, when I will grow up, I will help the poor people by giving their home, by giving them homes.
Inshallah, he is going to give homes to everyone.
My pledge to my country is that I will finish all corruption, and so we will prove to Pakistan is not less than any other country. Zindabad.
Pakistan Zindabad.
I love Pakistan. I will sacrifice my life for Pakistan.
I like how they clip all the girls because you're not going to show the girls.
Pakistan.
Sorry.
Oh wait, we actually get a girl.
Boy, of Pakistan. We love our country. Pakistan Zindabad.
Pakistan Zindabad.
What?
Pakistan Zindabad.
The back.
What does this mean?
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
Yeah, he's a pilot. Great.
My plan is to that I'll study hard.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now.
Yeah, he's going to study hard, Bryce.
Why are you bullying me?
My pledge is to help people who need for like people money and all this.
He is going to help the people in Pakistan. Great.
Oh, there we go. Great. That's so great.
That's the spread. Great.
I pledge that I will save my country.
You will save the country, inshallah.
When I will grow up, I will be army and save Pakistan and destroy India. I will be pilot.
There we go.
All right.
High quality.
I don't
brain
really
work. There
know
we
what
go.
that had anything to do with anything, but why are they saying it's in the bag? I don't. Is that like a British expression? I don't know.
No. Like if something's in the bag, it means that you got it, but you can't say it's in the bag for a country.
I know, but like
it's because
I mean,
they don't know English. No, it's an American expression, first of all, and secondly, they don't know how it's actually properly used. Like if something's in the bag, that means that you've got it, you've completed it, it's done, it's basically finished. Like don't worry about
I know
it.
that.
Victories in the bag.
But that doesn't make any sense in context. That couldn't be what it meant.
Because they don't know English.
So interestingly, I don't know if this is accurate, but the AI summary says Pakistan is in the bag is a phrase often misheard that originated from a misunderstood accented Urdu phrase, Pakistan Zindabad, which means long live Pakistan. So it could derive from that. Right?
Okay. So maybe they're switching to Urdu and they're just doing it in English to be funny. So yeah.
Well, it seems that because of it being an English expression, that it got adopted in English, but it probably was originally an Urdu phrase that was misunderstood, and now people intentionally say it in English. Whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a.
Yeah, I know what.
We know.
It doesn't make any sense in context, right?
Yeah.
My country is a certain win. What? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. The girls are in bags. Somebody said that's true. Oh yeah, this brainwashing of children, it happens all the time in China too. They do the same thing in China. It's pretty hilarious, and the answers are just as cringy and horrible.
Is broken English their first language? Probably Urdu. But I mean, I do think they learn English as young kids, right?
Well, they have instruction in English in classrooms, and that's the quality of English they have. The foreign language instruction, the English instruction in many countries is very, 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 very poor, which is kind of remarkable considering how widespread, how accessible English is now. But my father-in-law was actually an English instructor before the age of the internet. And when I found that out, that was shocking to me because his English is horrific even now. But yeah, that was one of his first teaching jobs, was to teach English. And that was before he came to the US. I can't even imagine how bad it was then.
I see. It was because he's very proud of Pakistan and just demonstrating the pride of Pakistan there.
There we go.
So the kids get up there and scream in the microphone, "I'm gonna die for Pakistan!"
So when my husband first came over, did not speak any English, of course. His father whispered to him, in Chinese, he's like, say, and then he said aloud, say, da 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 da. And of course, my husband, who didn't know any English at that time, started with the word say and tried to imitate the sounds as best he could. It made his father super, super mad. Like, say thank you. So he said, say thank you in English. It's like, how's he supposed to know that say isn't the part that he's supposed to repeat if he doesn't know any English at all whatsoever, literally? But it's like, you've embarrassed the family.
Yeah, several of the kids acknowledged that there's some serious problems. Like, I'll get rid of corruption or I'll save Pakistan.
Yeah, because Pakistan is a terrible place to live now. So.
Yeah, I mean, even people who live there generally.
Pakistan is awful right now, but don't worry, we'll totally win by being as evil as possible, as Logician Ben says. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, they got Bari, so there's hope.
Yeah. Oh
Several people said that he was probably one of those kids in the video because the video is like from 10 years ago or whatever. He's grown up now. Yeah. One more super chat just came in from Stroke and Poke.
And Allah will bless you in a million ways. You find the tree will grow and you will have lots and lots of wealth. This is the example that we gave to the children. And I'm letting you know that when you sow that seed by giving, you shall receive much more than you gave by the will of Allah. Give as much as you can, for indeed you will reap much more than you have sown.
As Muslims have no love because of 1 John 4:7. I thought it might have been God is love, but actually a related verse. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. That's your homework, everyone, is to read 1 John. Great book of the Bible there. Thank you very much for the super chat. And parting comment from John 3:16. Have you guys heard of J&T?
J and Tech.
And Tech. Right? I think.
J and Tech. Apologetics. Yeah, he left Islam. And yeah, he lost his family. He lost his job. And he was swatted.
I have not, but thank you for the recommendation.
I have been following along
People
that
check
situation.
that out. And I think I might have heard the name, but I haven't seen any other content. I'll put it that way. And continuing the next verse, he that loveth not, he that love, thank you for the King James, he that loveth not, knoweth not God, for God is love. That's the verse I thought that was probably being referred, but it was actually the verse before it in the super chat. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. Mary says that next week we'll be talking about that, about how there is no love in Islam because Allah is not love by nature.
It's supposed to be one of his names, but he really sucks at it. For that being one of his names, he massively sucks at it. Imagine taking a name and then just being the most sucky example of sucktasticness and stupidity that you could possibly be, and that's Allah. So Allah is all-knowing, but he doesn't know about what's in the Bible. Allah is the loving, but he doesn't even know what love is. Allah is solid and doesn't have because he doesn't have a butthole. Like, we've got all kinds of really stupid traits. I mean, the deceiver, he's definitely the deceiver. So I will grant you that Allah is the deceiver. Allah is Satan.
Well, he just claims a bunch of names. He just claims a bunch of names. Apparently, he can just abrogate them too, right? Because that seems to be the popular Muslim apologist now to say that he abrogated the name Father, but it used to be his name. Whatever. Skylark put the link to it. It doesn't appear as a link; it just appears as text. But you can copy and paste it if you want, or I imagine if you type in J&T apologetics, that will work as well. Guys didn't want me to leave, so sent a new super chat from Wajib.
Brothers and sisters, why to lose this great opportunity? Remember, when the person is on his deathbed, the last minute, he will ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to be delayed for 1 second to do what? Not to pray, not to do other things, but to give sadaqah, because sadaqah you can give it just like this, in 1 second.
So is your name mandatory cuddling? I think that's what it's supposed to be. Anyway, blessings from a Pakistani brother in Christ. Appreciate that. Good to have you here. I do really feel bad for the, what is it, like 5% or so of the population that's Christian in Pakistan. Life must be utterly horrible under Islamic rule. And appreciate the super chat for sure. Jack Ray sent in a second set of 50 gifted memberships. Guess he appreciated today's topic. Thank you, Jack Ray.
Here's the sadness. We are running out of funds. All our work is going to stop unless people like you watching this video will help us. Your donations can get you a share in a reward. Reap those rewards for years to come, inshallah. This is not a donation or a charity, but an investment for your hereafter.
And isn't
Thank
it
you for making
amazing,
that
like presenting something and it just being so outrageous to a Western mind, and then you have someone come in and go, "Yes, shut up! I will kill you for talking about this because it embarrasses me. Of course, we are like this." Yep, 1.3%. But hopefully, those whose consciences are not seared, who see this filth and realize, "Oh my goodness, this filth is Islam." We hope to have massive amounts of people leaving this filthy, disgusting religion. And I really think that if the West starts to take a much heavier hand with Islam, that it will cause a crisis in faith, because this whole pandering sort of, "Oh, let me help you, little Muslims. All you need is a democracy." Muslims do not need a democracy. Democracy is terrible for Muslims. That if we start treating them, the regimes, with the way that they really need to be treated, that we will have massively more people leaving Islam. And also, if we empower I would be happy to empower the dictators who need to be in control of Islamic countries to keep them from becoming terrorist hellholes. And when that happens, as long as your evil dictator, because all dictators end up being evil, as long as your evil dictator is going to permit other forms of religion, then you can be an evil dictator. That would be my stance. So, and then soon Islam would be gone, and perhaps one day you'll be able to have a democracy that's functioning and not horrifically corrupt.
So we were about to wrap up. Oh, so it was mandatory cuddling. Yes. I thought so, or mandatory cuddles, but it's a play off of mandatory killing for apostasy. That part I didn't get, but I did. I was like, wajib means mandatory, so is that mandatory cuddles? Great name. Couple comments just came in. Apologetic Jaws. I thought love wasn't one of the 99 names. Well, there is no definitive list of the 99 names, so it might be on some lists and not others. Who knows? Allah is described as loving. I think it is one of like the 200 plus names that he's described as.
It just depends on
the list of 99.
Yeah, arbitrary. Yep.
John 3:16 says, "Thanks for doing this. I skipped most of it. Thanks for sticking up for Lubna and all the ladies. God bless you both. Hope you can sleep after knowing all this." Yes. Frog One Dog with a member chat.
"O son of Adam, spend. I will spend on you. Give, then I will give you." It's difficult because you know what? These are my last few. As it is, the price is going up, the rand is going down, this is happening. Excuses. Those are excuses. You give and watch what Allah does.
Not to lose this great opportunity. Yes, thanks for being a member for 8 months.
It sounds almost like they're saying Toulouse.
That's a gorgeous cat. Is that Artemis? Yes, this is Artemis, and there's now all kinds of fur in my face apparently from petting her. So if you see me like swatting at my face, it's because there's a bunch of fur. You probably can't see it on camera. The shifting list of 99 names. It's strange. Allah says he has 99 names, right? That is Sahih. That is authentic. He gives a bunch of names for himself in his Quran, but he never tells you what, and you get magic benefits for reciting the 99 names, but he never tells you what the 99 are. There's a couple of da'if hadith that are contradictory one another as to what the 99 names are. There's no definitive list as to what they are, but you get special benefit for saying them. He just doesn't care. He doesn't care to tell you. It seems to happen a lot, right? You get special benefit for the night of power, but they forgot to write down what night that is. And I think this can't be bothered with these important things. They got to write down that I saw Muhammad eating chicken and similar things.
Well, I mean, Allah can't be bothered to give you full instructions in the Quran. So why should anyone else bother?
membership gifts are weird. I subscribed and I didn't watch this channel ever in 1 year. Not even Christian yet. I was given this gift instead of some true fan. Well, in fairness, like there's hundreds of them. So the number of people who watch regularly and have the ability to receive gifted memberships, because not everyone does. If you either turned it off or you're a brand channel, then you can't receive it. It has to be a personal channel to be able to receive it. So I can't receive it because it's considered a brand channel, and it's somewhat arbitrary how they decide that. It depends on how you signed up, I think. I don't know. Either way, not everyone's able to receive it. So, and hundreds of them are given out a month. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's randomized or preferences, people who've watched recently or what, but either way, that's why you got one. Frog won with 5 gifted as well.
Early, and this is indeed a sign, yet most of them are not believers. Give alone to Allah, give alone to Allah. Ride the wings of Gabriel, give alone to Allah.
By the way, if you haven't watched in a year, you should start watching the channel. We got good stuff on this channel. Prog One says, send in 5 gifted. Yeah, appreciate that very much. It is on by default if you have an ordinary account, but you can turn it off. And if you have a brand account, I don't know how they decided it exactly, then you can't receive one. So my channel is a brand account. I think it's if you go and hit create channel after you've signed up. So like if you just sign up directly, then you're not. But if you either hit create channel and sign up through that, or you create a channel after you sign up, then you're not. You have to hit a button to create a channel. But you can also post videos without hitting that button. So again, it's like arbitrary. Anyway. Yeah, I do need to explain to Avery the therapeutic effects of stroking a cat. Helpful for him, especially when he has to deal with MS with bad. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. Decades old, easily debunked. Oh, I see. With Muslims with bad, decades old, easily debunked, malicious dawah arguments. Gotcha. Yes. All right. Thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you for all the extra super chats and gifted members that kept us here over time. Artemis came back to say hi. She's leaving now. So it's time for us to say goodbye. Be back next week with Mary to talk about the love of Allah. Still planning to have the top 10 dawah fails. I got distracted with not ministry on related stuff, but not directly making videos. I got obsessed with lights and
I was wondering what you've been doing.
And sound, and I got very distracted.
Yeah, Thaddeus has been like really quiet.
I was gonna do the new setup today, and then this morning, even though I tested it, it was working great. This morning it wasn't working right, so I just went back to the old setup for today. But I do have a new setup.
Oh, are you gonna have a real background someday?
We'll see. We'll see.
With like a bookshelf? Have a bookshelf. Rather than just the books you're selling on Amazon piled behind you.
Anyway, that's what I got distracted with. So, and I also had a meeting yesterday on ministry that lasted all day. Ended up hanging out after the meeting. It wasn't really meeting the whole day, but had a meeting on doing ministry stuff, and then ended up hanging out. And anyway, that video is still in the works. It is in progress. It will be out soon. So be on the lookout for that. We will not have another live stream before that's out. Or if we do have another live stream, then it will never be out, because I'm not going to release it after March is over for the top 10 February fails. Anyway, I want to get that out. It should be out soon. Thank you for tuning in. We'll close out with a prayer from Pastor Jake. Oh, yeah, I forgot. It doesn't work, but I'll just manually trigger it.
Pray this ceaselessly. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me.